Is that better? I just don't want to be like shrieking. I feel like there's two skate legends on this podcast, and the viewers.
You haven't told her?
Told her what?
What?
I just do a show with Tony Hawk. I'm not a skate legend.
Yeah, but you're a real legitimate skater. You have
yeah.
skate fans, and they don't need me like being like. Bah, 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 bah.
No, I love it. I think the greatest thing ever is when you film. When you're involved in Chris doing a skateboard trick, or you're talking about your opinions of skateboarders doing skateboard stuff, or making a comment on me doing something on the internet that involves skateboarding and saying a trick that doesn't exist on the planet. Yeah. These are very amusing things to me.
These are great things. I don't really talk about skating much. Absolutely don't talk about detail of skateboarding with her.
Well, can I just ask a question?
Yeah, because why?
I have some issues. Can I briefly, with the skate community, may I?
Before, can I interject and suggest that we start the show?
Oh.
Sure.
My balls is totally moving, new and improving. Knock that we get back home. I've got the heart and desire, my balls are on fire, ready to take us to the top. Welcome to the show. Did you know that your mom is on? She's a total hoe. The king of the West.
I'm not going to recover from that. I'm out of here.
No good?
This is a laugh that is hard to get out of.
Yeah, right? I know. Wait. Man, I wasn't going to do it today, but I'm glad I did it.
So good.
Me too.
I'm glad I could bring some joy to
Yeah,
you,
you
Chris.
made Chris Cobra Cole's day.
That's facts. That was great. I'm crying. I'm crying.
He's actually obsessed with singing, karaoke. He's very good at guitar. I feel like there's comedians secretly want to be rock stars. Rock stars secretly want to be comedians. What do skateboarders secretly want to be? Surfers?
Same thing. Yeah, it's definitely the same thing.
Okay.
The only difference with skateboarding is there's a jock skateboarder, because there was an era where in skateboarding, if you didn't do well in a contest, then you couldn't do it for a living.
Oh.
But then there became skateboarders where if you were just creative and did amazing stuff on video, you didn't even have to be in a contest. As a matter of fact, if you went in a contest, you kind of sucked. So then it kind of made people like me.
I thought you were good, babe.
He is good. He's real good. But
I did both.
It's more artistic. Like skateboarding, it really has always been that. But there was a time there where, like, getting paid and not working, because that's what it's called to me, and just skateboarding, and that's your job. That's the goal.
Right, like comedy.
But imagine it's like if you did comedy and they go, if you don't do like 7 your mum's fat jokes, like you're not going to get paid. So you work hard on your mum's fat jokes. It's not really what you want to do, but it's how you make the money, and then you get to be creative doing all the rest of this stuff.
That's a good analogy.
It became, like, to me, I didn't know any other way. Like, when I got into skateboarding, I skateboarded. I love skateboarding. I skate all day. I try to make up stuff. I love doing it. That's the best thing now that it's all done and I'm older. The greatest thing I got from skateboarding is there was a point there where I could just make it do whatever I wanted, and I loved it. And I would, like, let my aggression out, let my fears, my sadness, I would pour it out on my skateboard, and it was like a therapy to me. Like, there were tricks that I used to do. I still do them like that a certain way. Like, I grind this pool down the road now. Like, if you lean into a grind and the coping's chipped, it'll, like, grab your board. It makes it harder to do it. But I refuse to do it any other way. I like to lean into it and try to rip that shit in half because I'm fucking angry.
Yeah.
You know, but if I do it a couple times, I'm happy because I got it out. So there's therapy in it.
And what do you think it is? Do you think it? And I oddly kind of don't totally know the answer in comedy. I think I have an idea, but do you think it's the adrenaline which turns into dopamine, or do you think it's the self-esteem hit of I'm really good at this hard thing and I just did it, I must not be a complete piece of shit, or it's just like, wee, that was fun?
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
of
all
them.
exist
Good
at the
answer.
same
The
time.
creative thing as well. The skateboarding thing and the comedy thing where you create something, and this is the other thing that's super similar. You write a joke, you make up a trick. You
That's
do
right.
it a bunch of times, and it evolves into something else before your eyes. Like, I've done tricks before where I didn't plan to make it go that far. Like, I'm trying to think of a trick. Like these are
crossbone.
vert tricks because Chris is going to fight harder. But there's a trick called a slob air. It's just a 180. And
Slobber?
Yeah, slob.
Slob.
Yeah, it's slob air. And people do it tuck knee. I did it between the leg. And between the leg is usually not cool. But I
Yeah.
started to straighten my back foot out when I did it. And then I
Okay.
started to straighten it out. And one time I straightened it out and it overturned all the way past. And I was like, ooh. And then that became like my way of doing that. And to me, still to this day, no one's ever done a slob air better than mine. Like, that's me. I run it. If you do one in front of me, I go, are you having fun?
That's awesome.
Like, I will
Yeah.
say that. I've
The
said it to
authority
people.
on slob airs.
This is fascinating to me because like I'm obsessed with the similarities between comedy and skateboarding because I
I'm
think
obsessed that you're obsessed with skateboarding similarities with comedy. This is so
it's just
enjoyable.
dorky.
So
It's just
fun.
well, can I just start with my first qualm with skateboarding?
Hey, wait, I haven't had a sip of this.
What
but
is
it's
it?
pineapple juice, liquid death, and Namare. It's my new drink
If piss
sponsor.
is in here, I'm just gonna be so mad.
If that would be out of character.
That's delicious. I did just take a mint, so it's a little bit.
It's a mocktail.
It's delicious.
I drink mocktails now.
from Erewhon. You have an Erewhon.
Nice.
You got that Erewhon money now.
No, what?
That's an Erewhon mason jar.
Oh, these because I eat dates because that's my candy now because I don't eat anything on my animal-based diet.
Dates are great for fertility.
I
Men
got
can
my
get
balls
pregnant now.
cut.
I'd be careful.
Yeah.
I got my balls cut.
Did you?
Yeah.
A vasectomy? Is that the same thing?
Smart guy.
When I got a vasectomy, I went live on Instagram, and the nurse goes, because I'm live and I'm filming myself, and I'm like, oh, mate, I'm getting my balls cut. And then the nurse goes, oh, Mr. Ellis, you have unusually thick balls. and I was on the Instagram, and I was like, yeah. And then right when I was like, yeah, excruciating pain came.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like they pulled on one of the cords.
Right.
In the balls because
Yeah.
they're going to fuse a cord.
Yeah.
And I think before they fused the cord, Doc yanked it on a little bit, and it felt like a crazy kick to the nuts.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna faint." I didn't.
Oh,
you know,
you didn't faint.
I'm hardcore, but I felt it.
Can I ask you a question? I'm
Yeah.
sorry that I'm an idiot, or maybe we need to Google this. I don't know. Sitting between two men with vasectomies.
3.
3? No way. I didn't realize this was so common. Oh, okay. I love
We
it.
hate kids.
Okay, is it?
Fool me,
No, you just
Yeah.
date maniacs.
fool me twice, right?
You date women that should not be mothers. Okay,
oh
so
man.
where does it? Do you come in yourself?
Ew.
Okay, I said at the
Ew.
start of the show you were a genius. I'm taking that back.
No, I've
The
wondered.
hell are you talking
I've wondered
about?
the same
Gross.
Back
thing.
me up. Back me up.
Gross.
I'm
Okay.
just saying, you do finish.
Still shoot loads.
Yeah.
But there's no sperm in it. Where
Who
does
knows?
does the sperm just not get made at all, or does it absorb into your body?
So it gets made still, but it's such a small amount. Like it's microscopic, so your body just absorbs.
The amount of
is that true, Michael?
the amount of sperm that's in sperm makes up a very small amount of semen.
Yes, like the smallest amount. Like,
Oh, got it. Okay, okay,
like
okay.
negligible amount.
Copy that. Okay, so I'm obsessed with the like comedy and skating thing because I think it's so similar. I mean, there's a reason that. Do you find more and more similarities as you get bigger as a stand-up?
Yeah. Yeah, and the best thing about it is if you do it wrong, you don't go to hospital. I say it all the time.
Isn't that sick?
And when you're older and you're like
You're in a
really
mental
sick
hospital
of going,
at some point.
yeah, well, I'll look forward to that.
But let me do my qualm with skating real quick. Why is it that skate shoes you can't wear socks?
She wears skate shoes.
I wear.
No, aren't they cute?
I'm wearing the Chris
You're
Cole
so in love.
Fallen.
It's
What are these?
ridiculous.
The Trooper.
The boop boops.
The Troopers.
The troops.
It's
The
a
funny
boop
because
boop. If I
I'm
call
in
the
the
shoe a boop
Stompies?
boop, that would be
The
ridiculous.
Stomp-
I'm in love with a
Stompers?
cowgirl and I have cowboy boots.
I love it
So we're both just as
much.
ridiculous.
No, that's me. I'm this person.
Yeah, Freaky Friday.
But why
Yeah.
can't
It kind of
We
is.
have totally switched.
Right?
I'm a skater and you're a cowboy.
Yeah,
You
Betty.
used to be a cowgirl at some point, right?
Yes, this is my thing.
I used to be a skater. Yeah.
But why can't I wear socks with these? Because I look like a Make-A-Wish kid.
That's not bad.
That's
if they
bad.
were higher, then I'd be like, oh no.
No, but why don't they? Do I need special skate socks for skate shoes?
I mean, if you have high socks, it's
usually
like the
go
higher the
high.
sock, the down to the full.
Yeah. Huh? Down to the foo.
why can I would like to do a Yelp review on your Fallen shoes because they're too low.
Well,
Wait, what?
that's a normal height, but
your
usually you go
jeans?
either invisible socks
Okay.
if you want to wear shorts,
Okay.
or you go socks that are actually like up the calf.
I mean,
Okay.
you realize if anybody else
'Cause
in
I
this
get
room
quitters.
had your jeans on, they'd be stupid.
It's my
Well
jeans
put.
are too high, not the
cute.
socks are
You're
too.
cute.
Yeah.
Not the
So
shoes
like,
are too low.
congratulations. But if any of us were like, hey guys, first thing I'd do if Chris walked in, I'd be like, hey man, get the fuck out of my studio.
Can I tell you? I've seen
I'd be
you
like,
in
I'm
a
trying
clam.
a new thing.
I've seen you in a clam digger, and honestly, I was like, no one else can pull that off but Ellis. You were
Clam?
wearing clam diggers one time.
What's a clam digger?
It's like pants that come like mid calf.
Yeah, that was an accident, but I still.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
Okay.
I was in Portland and I
an
had
orphanage.
time, and I went to the mall and I went to Nike store, and I was like, I like those pants, the silky ones. Uh-huh. You know,
Okay.
like warm up pants or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just, I don't like shopping, so I got them and I was like, cool, a large, done. And then I get home back to LA and I put them on, and I'm like, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I paid like $120, and I'm like, I can't.
I'm wearing them.
I'm wearing them. And I hate
a
them.
brave
I hate
man.
them.
But that's what's so great about cowboy boots. If
Wait,
you're
every time you wear them, you wear them more.
Yeah, because I don't want to get into it.
Cut them
Financially, things
into
aren't that great
shorts.
for me, and I don't. Those are my pants.
when something's expensive, I have to get it down to $1. So I go, if something is $120, I have to wear it 120 times. So
Okay,
it's $1
I didn't do
a
the
wear.
math, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
have
what's
to do it.
happening.
It's like-
until a big check comes in, I'm not giving those pants up because I don't have any more silky pants.
That's fair.
When I get an opportunity to buy more silky pants that go all the way to the ankle, I'm gonna be there. It's gonna be exciting.
Can I ask you a question? Okay, so in comedy, you know a joke is funny because the audience has an involuntary reaction. They laugh, right? I mean, there's a lot of
Yes.
times you'll see a comedian who's hilarious, like a Brody Stevens or, Brian Holtzman, where the audience is maybe confused, or, Norm Macdonald with the Bob Saget roast, but
Yeah.
you know how funny it is, but they're building some awkwardness and tension, whatever. How do you know when a skate trick is cool?
Wow.
That's a life. That's a life of studying, because you don't start out knowing they're cool. Like depending on what era you start in. Like I started in 1990, and so pressure flips were big, and double flips and triple flips were big, and so I have a soft spot in my heart for all these tricks that were deemed whack as shit.
But who decides
shortly
they're whack?
after.
Me.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's
So-
a good question. Is it? I like it that there's the Mount Rushmore of skaters that decide, because comedians were kind of
Oh,
like
yeah.
that too, in a way, where it's like those are getting laughs, but we don't respect that
You have
person.
to be cutthroat from the get-go.
With
And I've
skating.
always been cutthroat.
is it
you
in-
can't go back into my archives and see me do anything stupid.
But how?
Oh, you can see
but how
all
did you?
mine.
yeah, I know, because you
Oh,
just
wow.
mentioned 3 of them.
He was
Well,
a Mongo at first.
There was
I was
double
also
kick.
Mongo. I'm
Nice.
glad that
You
she
know
outed
Mongo?
that. But here's the thing. Now
Which
I got
is
a strong
embarrassing
switch
to me,
push.
frankly.
I had to
So-
I told my nephew. I had to send a video to my nephew who's like 7 at the time, and like because he pushed Mongo, and I was like, play that for him, because I did a demonstration in the parking lot of like
Yeah.
how dumb you are for doing that, and like I know it's difficult at first, but you need to make the change.
Why? What
immediately.
is the
fair.
equivalent in comedy? Is it like being a prop comic? Is
Wow! Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that was really quick because I was trying to think. I didn't want to mention a name because that's where I was going to go.
When comedian pushes Mongo.
I'm not gonna-
I feel like
'Cause
we're,
it's- you know
thinking
him.
about the same thing.
He figured it out and got the fuck out of there.
Dude,
but-
guys.
you can fight. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't
he'd
say this.
kill me, but I'd give it a go. But
So-
yeah, it's more like to me having such love for the game
Yes.
is where style and selection of tricks comes from.
Okay.
Like when you're,
True.
and this is like a thing where I don't want to sound racist, but Brazil,
I'm leaving. There's no way this is going to go well.
Brazilians, you know what I mean, they come from a different place, and when they do tricks, they just do as many tricks as they can because they're really excited about being a part of skateboarding. And they will do things on street where I'm like, you're doing vert shit on the street course, and I know, and you don't, which is crazy, that what you just did is unacceptable. Like, there was a couple of years there in X Games where there were some Brazilian guys that were doing kickflip indies on the street course. And I was like, if I do a kickflip indie on the vert ramp, solid. Also, depending on how you do it. If you kickflip and the board goes all the way over there and then you bring it onto your feet, it better be in a fucking contest, right? Because if that's your actual kickflip indie, don't talk to me.
Is that like me doing
Yeah.
a street joke in a special or something?
What's a
A
street?
street joke is like a joke that everybody, kind of knows and tells. Like,
Yeah,
a pedophile
super
brings a
sloppy.
kid into
Yeah.
a woods and he's like, I'm scared. And the pedophile's like, you're scared. I have to walk out of here alone. It's like street joke.
Yeah. I feel like, and there's like an old school way of doing jokes where, and once again, I'm not going to say people, but there's like
Smart.
there's a hickory dickory dock kind of a thing where if you do it now, it's like, whoa, like, wait, do you know
Yeah.
what's happening these days? Like, we don't do that no more.
Right.
We have like new cutting edge humor, and same in skateboarding where there's some people. The thing has changed now where skateboarding is a lot more accepting of everybody.
Right.
And I like it because I used to be a bully. But it was coming from a good place. I was a bully because I have passion. You know what I mean? If you do a trick
Right.
where you're just doing it to make it, I'm like, have some respect for that front of it. Hey everybody, Jason Ellis, Jason Ellis Show. Liquid Death. I'm an owner of Liquid Death. I invested in this company because I knew that it was going to be huge. Now they've got it in Canada, in Australia, and then they got it in Europe. And now the police know that when a child has it, that it's not a beer because it's water. And it's in a can, and then look at all these other companies trying to copy Liquid Death because they know Liquid Death is ahead of the game, but it's the first, it's the original, it's the coolest, it has the best ideas. And then they have all these flavors, man. They got bubble water with like mango and lime and orange and cherry, and it's just never ending. They got new ones. They got like a chocolate milk one. They don't stop. They will never stop. They got everything cool. They got merch that's cool. Everything they do is cool. Everybody's drinking it. All the cool podcasts all want to hold it. People pretend that they want to be Bert Kreischer. It's a phenomenon. And I got it in my house, and I drink it all day. So if you listen to the Jason Ellis Show, for a limited time, you can go to your local grocery store and buy any case of Liquid Death, mountain water, flavored sparkling water, or iced tea. They go to iced tea and get $5 off instantly through Venmo when you text them your receipt. It's super easy. Go to liquiddeath.com/Ellis and you get all the details. That's liquiddeath.com/Ellis for $5 off any case of Liquid Death when you text them your receipt. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Halloween, fast approaching. Halloween is fun, but it's also what scares us. What about the fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts? Like your mind, the darkness of your mind. Look, I'm not saying that horror movies aren't scary, but I've played some scenarios in my mind that are way scarier than any movie I've ever watched in my entire life, and I just want to stop playing the movie, but my brain's like, no, here's another scary scenario that you really don't want to know. How do I turn it off? Well, one of the things that help, one of the most important things that's ever helped in my life is therapy, going to therapy. And what about driving? And I live in Los Angeles. I don't like traffic. I don't want to drive anywhere. What about if I just do online therapy? And what about if I get a fat discount on my online therapy? Wouldn't that make you happier in itself? Not to mention getting therapy. So BetterHelp, everybody. Try BetterHelp. Reach out. It can never do bad. All it can do is good. You're happier around your girlfriend. Your girlfriend likes you more, and you get hot favors in the bedroom. I don't know. Sorry. Maybe she makes you dinner. Maybe she gets you candy. Do you like candy? Overcome your fears with BetterHelp and visit betterhelp.com/Ellis today and get 10% off your first month. That's a whole month, 10% off, everybody. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Ellis. Hey everybody, Jason Ellis here from the Jason Ellis Show. Just talking to you a little bit about a friend's band. JT has a band called This Saturday. It's available on iTunes. They got a new album just came out, and they got 4 albums. There's I think a total of 52 songs. But he is he's a good dude, and the music it's like pop punk kind of stuff, but it's a lot of different stuff. Like there's songs where I'm like, that didn't sound like the last song at all, but it's fun. It's fun to listen to. I have listened to the entire album from start to finish, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know that I was into this kind of music. He might have just introduced me to the pop punk genre without being a hater. I don't know, maybe it's my sobriety and just being happier with life, but I like this Saturday. It's pretty cool. So if you guys want to check it out, it's available on iTunes and Spotify and all the places that you get music. So support the band because those guys support the Jason Ellis show. You know what I mean? Let's all get along. And his new album, it's called Setlist. So check it out, you guys.
But here's what I'll say. If you're in it to be serious and be the best, it's not always bullying. It's constructive criticism. Like, Neil Brennan, he said things to me that I'm like, that hurt. Ow. Why are you being such a bully?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I needed to hear that.
Wow.
I really needed to hear that. The audience laughs was never going to convey that. I could have gotten away with this one thing forever and been really good.
Yeah.
But him telling me that, I now know how to be great.
Wow.
I needed someone to tell me that, and everybody is too afraid to give the feedback, or they don't know how to articulate it.
Yes.
Or they're like, you're doing so well, why would I give you any criticism?
Yeah.
Can I ask what the thing was?
It was basically smile more. It was basically a cat call.
What?
But it was more of a what you're saying is already, like what I was doing on stage. It was basically like you could be less angry about it. Do you know what I mean? And I think for the longest time, it's really hard to tell when you're out of the woods, And when I started, it's like I had to fight so hard to get respect, and I had to fight so hard to get the audience's attention. And then by the time I had it, I hadn't updated my software on my status yet.
Yeah.
So I was still coming out with this
Still
I'm gonna
fighting.
I'm gonna win you guys over, and you guys don't respect me. And it was like, no, you got him. You got him.
Yeah.
No one's fighting you. I was like shadow boxing, and it was just kind of like, you can have fun up there. You're allowed to have fun up there. It doesn't have to be a dogfight every time, And so it was honestly such a gift because I didn't see the audience as an adversarial relationship anymore, But it was just this tiny little tweak that I really needed to hear. But at the time,
it made a big difference.
Huge. But my ego was like, that was mean and blah, 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 blah. And then later when I was able to dissolve my ego and let it sink in, I was like, that just changed my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Neat.
Have you ever gotten constructive criticism that felt like bullying, and then later you were like, oof, that was such a good point?
I mean, for skateboarding, yeah. But for comedy, I just don't see, it's a weird thing where I don't really see myself as a comedian.
You gotta quit that
Bill
shit.
Burr was the other day, he did a set at the store that I was on. I was stand up on the spot with Jeremiah, and he walked up to me and he goes, "Hey man, you're a comedian?" I was like, "I'm trying to be." and he's like, I was like, "You've been on my show before." And he's like, "What show?" And I'm like, "It's a serious show." And he goes, "Wait, are you friends with that skateboarder guy, the real good skateboarder?" I'm like, "Tony Hawk?" He goes, yeah. I'm like, "Mm-hmm." He goes, "Yeah, I know you." And then he walks off, and I was like,
That's Bill.
I don't feel like that was good.
That's Bill.
But I felt like he thought I was a comedian, and then he realized I was a skateboarder and became less interested. But I was like, because at first I think he was like, "You're trying to be a comedian. I'm gonna be supportive." And I was like, "Aw, you're trying to say hello to me because I'm a new comedian." He's furthering the sport, and he's like, "Oh, you're Tony's friend." Fuck off.
I think it was going to end that way either way. That's my guess.
Good point.
Comedians
But I like it this way because I don't know, my feelings are never hurt.
Right.
Sometimes if I don't do that well, I'm still learning. I'm still, I'm get cocky. That's I have an ego that is a monster.
But you said something when we first started. I think it was off camera. We were talking about Ian Fidance, about him complaining about stuff. That's our nature all the time. You know what I mean? That we don't know any other way to see the world. I've had to do so much work on myself to turn off my comedian brain when I'm just like, why is this cat doing it? It's the only way we know how to see the world. And also, we're not great at one-on-one interactions. That's why we wanted to enter into a sphere where security guards removed you if you talk back. Like, let me say what I need to say. Like, you know, and it's taken me a long time to realize that, like, sometimes we're not always people, you know, so it takes a while to, like, sort of be able to navigate all that. The personalities. Are skateboarders not like that? There aren't certain people that are kind of curmudgeonly and other ones that are...
I get. There used to be a lot more of that. These days, it's really inviting. Like, everybody is so approachable and, like, welcoming.
The CTE.
And understanding. Leave it alone. Not everybody hits their head. That's more of an old school thing. Like, the last of those guys is, like, Tony and myself, where it was, like, vert dudes in the 80s and 90s that were, like, if you got knocked out, you were like, what did I get knocked out on? And then you try and do that trick 5 minutes after you wake up.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't know.
Yeah,
it wasn't tough.
Yeah.
Like, now it's like, dude, you got knocked out, you're done for the day.
Yeah.
Like, maybe a couple days, maybe a week, and it's like a week. Back in the day, which is so crazy because it's not that long ago, it was like I got knocked out, woke up with my hand shattered, and I'm like, I'm in the contest. Give me some duct tape. And everybody saw me do it, and nobody was like, Jace, maybe call it a night. Like, it was like,
right.
You know, mate, stick at it, dude. You got one more ride. Like, you know, it was just a mentality. Like, Jake Brown, the biggest slam ever in the history of skateboarding. Hopefully, nobody gets worse than that. When he woke up, he said, how many rides do I have left? And I was like, you're done for the day, dude. And he was like, did I win? Like, he's been back on the planet
like,
for 3 seconds.
In a way, you did.
Yeah.
You won the most watched X Games clip of all time.
Right.
They'll be using your highlight in the X Games for years to come.
Forever.
So you might as well have won in that regard.
Yeah, it's like the Masvidal Askren flying knee,
Yeah.
right?
But you also have this community where you also are, like, helping each other when you're physically injured and watching out for each other. Like, I was just, I wanted to redo my answer on the Bill Burr thing. Like, it's also wild to think these two alpha males are just in the same room. I mean, just on a primordial level, it's just, if you and Burr were, like, in the, like, back of the Comedy Store green room, I'd be like, I gotta fucking go watch. Like, just watching alphas interact is
It's
so
funny because when
wild.
I went into the green room, I didn't know he was a surprise guest, and I go into the green room upstairs, and he's in there. So I left because he was talking to somebody about his personal life, and I was like, I don't need to be a part of. Like, this is inappropriate. I'll leave. But when I went out after him, I was like, because people have said you kind of look like him. I'm like, I'm not a redhead, first of all. I just got like some red facial hair. But I was like, I know, I kind of look like Bill Burr, except if I was like molested by a football team. and born in Australia. Like, that's the only difference. But
Bill's burden.
Yeah. But that's one of those people, like, when I grew up skateboarding, like watching Tony and all those guys, where I was like, that's what I want to be. I don't want to be Bill Burr. I want to be as
Grill
good as
Burr.
Bill Burr. I just want to be like,
Yeah.
You know, he riffed. The stand-up on the spot is riffing.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude,
But
he
also,
is so fucking
I
good.
don't think comedians know necessarily how to like receive love and have like an intimate moment all the time. So it's
saying
like,
thank you to a compliment is I've only just started to.
we're not great at receiving.
Yeah, I'll
love.
shine it. I'll go thanks, but I'm really not listening.
Yeah,
Now
it's
I
fascinating.
go, oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, or
I'm registering that you did say that.
It's a
and
whole
I,
thing,
and I
yeah.
don't go, calm down, dickhead. Because I had to that's what I was trying to say before. My ego is embarrassing. It's like a monster. You know, like when things have got good for me in the past, I've become an asshole.
So
I try to squash that guy all the time because I'm scared he's going to show up and ruin things for me. Like the people that I have around me now that I love and care for, I don't want that guy coming out.
Right,
like,
right.
I
It's like
want,
me, myself, and Irene. You just don't want Hank showing up.
Yeah. Like, man, I don't kind of remember. I got video proof of me being a douche. You know, and it's like, why were you doing that? It's like, shit, I'm one of the greatest skateboarders in the world. Fuck everybody. It's like, you really meant that.
Kind of funny.
I wasn't joking. Like, I really meant that. And then when I got the radio show was big, I was like, I'm better than Howard Stern. Like, fuck everybody,
But
man.
also, I mean,
like, shut up, dude.
Okay, but also we were talking about this on the way over. First of all, I do want to say the compliment thing is hard because I do think in order to receive a compliment, you have to agree with it on some level, or else you think someone's gaslighting you or fucking with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, if I'm like, that was so funny, in order to say thank you, you have to agree with it, or else I'm being sarcastic or like trolling you.
Yeah, when I said you're a genius, you tightened up.
But
then when I said you're a moron after it, you felt better.
I know. I was like, oh, thank God he sees me. We have such a we're soulmates. Oh my God, we agree on everything. But when it comes to doing what you guys do, I'm fascinated by this in comedy. Like being insecure is a really big part of our engine. But then there's a point where you do need to start having delusional confidence. Like in order to look at a skateboard and go, this murder machine, this death trap in front of me, I'm going to get on it. I'm going to do a flip and not die. That takes a certain amount of delusional confidence and ego, don't you think?
There is
it serves you well.
I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself. There's a really solid risk assessment and inventory of what I can do factually, and it's not a cocky thing, but it's more of like, can you switch flip that? Yeah, I can. It's not a cocky thing. I'm just being factual, because I think it's actually more conceited and more cocky to go, I suck. I'm not even that good. And you're like,
because that means someone that's less good than you really sucks. So you self-deprecating is really
good. And it's like obvious you've been doing this for so long. You've achieved this pro status. You've won contests against the best people in the world. You then are saying, I'm not even that good, which means that you know how good you are. And then you're downplaying it because you're so good. I have to downplay it. You know what I mean?
Dude, I did that. Like I talked myself into being really good, and then I was really good, and I felt that it was a little bit embarrassing to be the guy in the room that was like, I'm the best ever, and then win the demo or win the contest. This is living in Australia, where I lived on an island where I was the best in that country. So I had my little ego and my little Australasian title 4 years in a row. Nobody could beat me. And I wouldn't even have to practice. I would just wipe the floor with everybody.
Yeah.
And then after party, I'd be like, morons. You know what I mean? I'm better than everybody. And
but
then I was like, you know what? Stop
playing
it down. You sound like an asshole.
Do you think that's part of the reason you became the best?
Hang on a minute.
Sorry.
I used to say, oh, I suck. You know what I mean? Like to chill the room. I'd be like, I'm doing the best I can for being a dumbass. And then I started to get worse at skateboarding.
And then
I was like, okay, go back to being cocky because you're like falling off in contests.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it wasn't. It's like I shit on myself too much. But then it was like. But then this took decades. Where it's like maybe don't go walk into a room and go, I am the king, you morons.
There's probably somewhere in the middle where the
but to find the middle was not. It wasn't a. I got it. Like everybody, like I'm humble. I'm happy for everybody. May the best man win. But when it comes down to it, I'm probably gonna win.
Well, most of the guys that are in the upper echelon of skateboarding, most of them come from a town where they were the best one. They were you, right? Almost all of them, and then they would all convene at like Tampa Am. Right. And you'd show up to you would have that one vert contest and we would have that one street contest. Yeah. It was Tampa Am. You'd go to Tampa Am after winning every contest in your area, hands down, super easy. You'd go down to Tampa and be like, I'm not good. Like I was so good here, so obviously the best. And I came down here and there are generational stars are in there, where you're skating with P-Rod, Mark Appleyard, Colt Cannon, Stefan Janowski, all the dudes. Kerry Guest is there.
Comedy is the same. The difference is
totally.
If you are from an area where there's a group of the best guys, and you were like a little kid skating with them, because to me, I'm from Australia. And I'm the first born Australian that was pro.
Whoa!
So before me, there was no.
So you didn't have competition.
Really?
You didn't have...
there was people that were good, but there was nobody that was a professional American skateboarder from Australia.
Wow!
I'm the first one that went to America and then turned pro for an American company and came back and did all the things that American pros did in Australia, and then everybody in Australia started doing what I did.
Whoa!
So then there was pros from Australia.
Yeah.
But before that, I'm the first one that ever got a check for being a pro skateboarder.
That's crazy.
But when I came to America,
there was hundreds of you. I was like,
right.
I run my town, and I get to America. The only difference was my ego didn't show up for that. when I saw Tony Hawk in real life, and then all these other people, I saw like Jinx, Jimmy Martinez, or a guy you wouldn't even know,
right.
at a mini ramp that had hips and spines, and there was
Hell yeah.
at the time I'd never seen a mini ramp or a hip or a spine.
Was that at McGill's?
No, it was like some dude's backyard.
Sick.
And I got off the plane. When I got off the plane, dude, this is the juice that I got. I've seen movies. I've seen Hollywood. I've seen beaches with chicks with tans and bleach blonde hair. And I get out of LAX and I'm like... the thrill that I had from being at LAX.
Well, you would never have that thrill at LAX ever
Right,
again.
because I was there yesterday and I was like, fuck. You know, but,
Yeah.
but the juice that it gave me, like I slept in I did a speech the other day in Inglewood for children at a school.
Oh.
For like 16 to 17-year-olds that are like troubled teens.
Right, don't get tattoos.
I didn't say that. No way. I was like, get as many as you
They
can.
probably
Look
had
at me,
more
I look like a
tattoos on their
badass.
face than he does.
No, but I was like, you're struggling in school. I was like, I can barely read or write. I have a New York Times bestselling book. Anything is possible.
I love
like
that.
if you put the work in.
I love
Yeah.
it.
But I told him, I was like, I came with a sleeping bag and I slept in a kid's playground. And before anybody, like, I met some other pros that were like, hey man, like you're cool.
We have
Do you
a
want to
couch.
crash at my house? And then I
Yeah.
started to have like a place to stay. But the juice that I had from being at the airport made it easy to sleep in the kids playground. The donut store, because there was no such thing as a donut store in Australia, where you had a store that only sold donuts.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I go in there and they're like, yeah, you can get a box of them for like $3. And I'm like, a box? Like you're saying like 12? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, for how much? Like 40 cents a donut? Get the fuck out of here. And it was like every donut. I was like, ooh, look at this one. And I was like, the juice that I had went for months. You know
Did
what I
they
mean? Like,
only
if I had a
sell
bad-
donuts individually in Australia? Would your family like
There's
share
no
donuts?
donut
Is it
store. You would
shrink-wrapped?
go to
Like,
a
what's
coffee
happening?
shop and they would have muffins and a donut. And it was a shit donut. Like it wasn't
You
a,
better get there early.
Right.
Yeah.
That donut
Do you
might
guys
gotta
have free
take it.
healthcare in Australia?
Yeah,
Okay, so
Medicare.
whenever there's free healthcare, there's less
Donut decrease.
unhealthy options.
they might have it now. Like I haven't lived there for over 20 years, but I'm pretty sure they don't have the thing that we have here, which is just it's a donut store. Like,
Yeah.
And it's like, so there's another one on the corner.
Yeah.
They have
Like,
sick donut stores now.
like Krispy Kreme, I reckon there's probably a Krispy Kreme in Australia, because if you had millions of dollars and you didn't open a Krispy Kreme in Australia, you'd be, because that's, I always used to say this when I'd go back, I used to go back to Australia once a year, and I was like, I didn't make money, but
Yeah.
I was like, Taco Bell, you know what I mean, Subway, you know, like all the things that they didn't have over there, I was like, open one and just bank it.
This
yeah.
is America.
Yeah.
And
where
people did.
A place like Subway will have a pedophile as a spokesperson
Yeah, that was
and not take a hit. You
No.
notice
Yeah.
Subway has not taken a hit. at
Tully
all.
and I both hate Subway. Like he
I don't
explained to
think
me
it's good.
the smell and
Yeah.
like how the bread's got like
Yoga mats in it?
yoga mats in it,
Yeah.
like all
Yeah,
these things.
Pete
where
Holmes has a whole thing about Subway.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
And
It's
it's,
just
brilliant.
It's
Well,
bad.
in New York, what gets me, especially when it's hot, is there's a lot of underground businesses. You can just be walking past a subway station, like an actual subway train station, and you
Sure.
can smell. I'm like, that's not what bread smells like, first of all. And it's like, if I choose to, I think it's very offensive. If I choose to go into your store, I'm signing up to smell your shit. I would never go in your store. Leave me the fuck alone with your goddamn smell. I'm on 59th Street.
That remember
Right.
Abercrombie and Fitch? You would be like 100 yards away and be smelling the Dracar
Yeah.
Noir or whatever it was. So I'm obsessed
Dracar
with.
Noir.
That sounded like a weird cut. Wasn't cut. Just my autism. I'm obsessed with the personality of people that do certain things, especially masochistic things. And now that I'm an authority on all things skateboarding,
Obviously.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
You really
The
stepped up your
TED Talk
game.
forthcoming. The one thing I don't know, what is the personality difference, or is it just like a geographic location difference of skaters that choose to do vert versus skaters that choose to do street?
Can I just say how adorable it is? How much you love us because you love him. This is, This is fucking. You guys are becoming like, you look furry to me, and I mean this in a way where it's like, I love furry things. I really love you two
What do you mean?
as a couple.
Thank
You're like two little rabbits. You're gay as shit.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, like
The
so
gay.
ridiculous.
So Jason, vert and street. What is the difference? Like, what
Well,
the
I wanna
fuck,
know, but
Whitney?
also-
Are you seriously asking me
Here's
that?
the
Like,
thing.
you look like you're really interested in my
I'm
answer.
on
wants
the
to
edge
know.
of my seat, but also edge of my seat. Only I never want to hear what anybody says. But I'm curious why we get along so well, because I've never been in a relationship where it was so lockstep, philosophical, like same place. When I work really hard, I have to go do spots. He's not like, you're going to go to another spot, because skateboarders, you're like, yeah, we do it until we get it. You don't just quit.
Yeah, but
when you're-
I didn't know you. I haven't known
Yeah.
you that long, but I feel like, just judging by the way you talk about yourself, that you've gone through a lot. And I know I've listened to you on Howard Stern back in the day when I was on Stern. You've been through a lot, and you're at a point now. Because to me, it's like I've been in a lot of relationships. I'm at a step now where I have to make an amends, and most of the people on my list is all the people that I had a relationship with.
Yeah.
Because they really tried to be with me, and I feel sorry for them all. Because I just wasn't there.
You weren't ready to
I was
receive.
like, I'm nowhere near fixed myself, so how the hell can I help you? And I feel like you're at a spot now, and Chris is at a spot now where you're older, you're wiser, you've realized you've made some mistakes, you're willing to accept that sometimes it might be your fault, and you can apologize for things. And now you're like, 'cause I'm in a relationship now where I don't, like, we have, like, quarrels, but we just say it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and also if you say to me, like, I'm doing something that might be wrong, I go, am I? Okay. Let me analyze that. Yeah. Wow.
And you know what I
That's
love about
a really
that?
good point.
It made
And
me-
old me would never
It made me
have caught
realize,
that.
a couple things. Number one, being with an equal is, I think, always very important, because if you don't respect somebody, you're not gonna listen to them when they say, like,
Yep.
it was shitty that you did that. You're like, what the? Like, you have bad judgment. Why would I listen to you
Yeah,
anyway?
yeah, wow.
So
Right.
if Chris is ever like, that hit me sideways, I'm like, oh my god, you would never lie. You're the most honest person I've ever met. You are so generous. I know that you hate fighting and you don't have like a mean bone in your body. So like, you must be right. Like, my default is I trust you,
Right.
and I'm obsessed. I'm sorry, this is whatever, my Asperger's, high functioning autism, whatever. I'm obsessed with like why people are great at what they do, especially really hard, dangerous things like stand up, emotional danger. I mean, I guess there's some physical danger in stand up now that Will Smith is out there just knocking out comedians and
Not for me.
yeah, no, I know. Notice that Will Smith did not come for you or
Yeah.
Rogan, right?
Somebody said that to me in a club before when I was on the road. It's like, man, what happens if there's a heckler? I was like, don't worry about it. He's like, I got you.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
I wouldn't, yeah.
It's never gonna happen.
Let 'em.
It's
Let
they
'em.
only do it to people they know that they can.
You've
do
seen
it
the
to.
Jim Jeffries one, right?
Yeah.
This is like from back in
Long
the
to-
day.
way
long,
yeah.
I think that was in Australia.
I think it was England.
Okay, you're right.
Same thing.
So I'm
Kidding.
obsessed
I'm
with.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm obsessed with what, because you have to have a very good relationship with the truth in order to be good at skating, right?
Yeah.
He's one of the most honest
Yeah.
people I've ever met, like to a fault. Like sometimes I'm like, I didn't need to hear that. Like it's
Yeah.
overly honest is a thing also, but like you
For
have to
sure.
be honest and self-aware to know whether you can hit the landing on Wallenberg.
You nailed it. Good job, babe.
Oh my! Shut the fuck up!
Don't take his laughter as he did
do
anything
not.
wrong, babe.
Okay,
you didn't
that
do
is-
anything
I'll
I'm
wrong.
a
give you-
comedian. If I get a
you
laugh,
didn't do
I've
anything wrong.
succeeded today.
I'll give you one. Don't do that again.
But I just mean, but do you know what I'm saying? Can a skater be a liar and be good at skating? Comedy, you cannot be too delusional or a liar and be good at comedy.
You have to
think
have
so?
a really good inventory. Like you have to know, like you'll ask people that you trust, what am I perceived like? This way you don't do a caricature of yourself. You want to know. It's like we do a really good inventory of what we actually have, rather than like it goes into compartments. Like some people are kick flippers, some people are heel flippers, some people, very few, have both.
Switch it back.
Right. Very few have both. And it's like to know where your
my
strengths
God.
lie is the only way that you're actually going to pick a trick and get it done at the spot that you go to, especially if you haven't been practicing that trick. You have to be pretty real about like I'm about to do some on the job learning right now.
But you can, the way in comedy, I succeeded a lot by doubting myself and having low self-esteem. I had to change that later when it was no longer serving me, but going like, that sucked, that wasn't good. Even if I got an applause break, I'm like, could have been better. I cheated. I was like phony. Like I got credit for things I didn't deserve.
Where I'm at.
Do you know what I mean? But that will serve you really well. You just have to be able to turn it off when you leave work. You know? Because like any guy that comes off stage and is like, nailed it, you're like, okay, well.
I'm getting better at that. I also don't mind. I if I don't do well and it burns, I know from my skateboard career that it's okay to let it burn because that is the passion. Like when I don't do as good as I expected to do, I'm not gonna penalize myself to the point where I'm sad for 2 days like I used to be.
Smart.
Now I will be sad for an hour.
Can you usually figure out why things didn't go the way you wanted them to?
It happened in Philadelphia this weekend.
Tell me.
I have been doing open mics, and I did a couple of jokes recently where I'm watching what other comedians do. You film it, then you watch it, and you see people laugh at the certain things, and you go, right, that's worth using. And I got cocky. I got to Philly, and I was like, I'll do this new joke into this new joke, and then I'll go into some of my other stuff. And they're not perfected in any way. And then I was talking to Catherine about it, like adding a thing right before I went out, and I forgot the punchline to it. And some of the things that I did I'm doing open mics in an alleyway with 6 people watching, and some of the comics that were laughing because they're sick fucks. And the joke that I had it wasn't funny, it was just sick. And they laughed at it, and I took that as that's worth doing. And when I did it, it didn't work. And then the next one I did, instead of going back to my old material, I did another thing that didn't bomb. It just didn't fire off like I was used to.
Comedians are emotionally dyslexic, so I know I killed if I come off stage and none of the comedians say that was funny.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? So if I kind of eat shit, people are like, that was great. That premise is awesome. Like, they take comfort in the fact that I kind of failed. But if I, like, murder, come off stage, like, how are you? Like, it won't be addressed. You know what I mean?
That's so funny.
There's some of that. So if comedians are laughing at jokes, that really, for the first couple of years I was doing stand-up, I was definitely going super dirty. First of all, to just like neuter myself in a way, or to feel tough or something when I felt vulnerable or scared, but also because the comedians in the back would laugh. And I was like, oh, if open mic comics are laughing, this must be funny, and the audience must not know anything. And then I went, oh no, they love that I'm failing. Yeah. Okay, you know what I mean? Yeah, and then when I started killing, they wouldn't talk to me or laugh, you know?
Yeah, but after, I felt really bad. Neat. My girlfriend talked me off the ledge and was also very honest about it. Like, I think other people would be like, no, it wasn't as bad as you think. And I was like, okay, it wasn't your best. You just started it. And I was like, oof. I was hoping for somebody to lie and just tell me that it was actually good, and I just didn't realize the crowd thought it was hilarious.
I'll do that.
Yeah, it turns out that you just want the lie.
It wasn't, whatever it was a huge learning curve. Like this is something you've gotten so successful so fast in comedy that some of these moments where you really like, it's like, when I take up skateboarding.
It was a good thing.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's seared in.
Here's the good news.
I was like, don't do that again.
Sometimes it has to be that bad in order for it to really lock in the growth, and you're not going to make that mistake again.
Because in skateboarding, there's every trick, I've used to say this, every trick I've ever done in skateboarding on vert, I've eaten shit on. And it's like even the most basics, like to skateboarding, Chris, I rocked a fakie one time. I was just in my own head.
Totally.
And I locked up on a rocked a fakie and fell all the way back and ate like total shit. And I remember getting up and going, okay, I believe I've eaten shit on every trick I've ever done, because that's a lot. Are you fucking serious right now?
Well, no, I just took off my headphones and I just didn't want to look too crazy.
No, but it's fun.
I already know all this because I'm a skate aficionado.
Yeah.
I know all of this.
So what's funny about what you said about the way the skate aficionado and the tricks that you do being like, you're not going to do the whack shit. I've taken it upon myself to try to do them all. I want to catch them all. And so it's like, even the grossest, like half cab double heel flip, I want it, right? I want to have done it once. I don't need to do it, because there's already enough tricks that you learn over a career that you have in the cloud. You have to re-download, right? You don't have it downloaded right now.
Yeah.
But you got the blueprints, and so you need a couple goes and you relearn it and re-download it from the cloud, right? But there are those other tricks that I have done, I can't do. like 720 triple flip, I'll do it. I don't need to have it. I need to have done it one time.
Right.
And I love doing that. Even if it's disgusting, even if it's the nastiest shit, I want it just so I can say that I did it.
Because it's almost impossible. That's a ridiculous
Yeah, I
thing
love
to do.
that.
Can I ask you a question? When did you two meet?
Say
Wait,
it.
hold on. Both say it at the same time. On three.
It's like
how
there's
many years have you known
There's
each
different
other?
meetings. There's skateboard meetings where when you're both pro and you're a vert guy and he's a street guy, we don't usually link up. But when you get to a certain level in the game, it's a head nod.
Yeah.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Like for the first
Comedies
couple
like
of
that.
years of me knowing Chris and Chris knowing Jason, it was.
Yeah.
And then we were off because I'm like, you probably don't want to know me, dude. I'm a vert guy. And he's probably thinking the same thing.
I know the first time that
What
we
did
spoke.
you think of him before you
what?
met?
I know the first time we spoke.
Was it at a Tony thing, right?
Yeah, it was at the Tony thing.
Right.
It was about 11 years ago, 12 years ago.
What's the
Yeah.
thing?
It was Tony Hawk's silent auction stand up for skate parks at the Green Acres Estate in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
where the Godfather, the Horsehead scene, the exterior was filmed.
shot.
Oh,
No
really?
shit.
Not the inside, but when you hear him scream and you see the outside of the house, that's the
no way.
mansion up in Beverly Hills.
I knew that it was like a famous place,
Yeah.
but I never knew what from. I was
And then
just
did you
like-
guys talk? What do you remember?
Yeah, so we were.
I remember he was into things that I didn't know he was into.
Yeah,
Like,
we
not-
were.
No.
He was
gay shit, calm
standoffish,
down.
but I expected
Tattoos
it.
and metal and stuff. Where
Yeah.
he started talking when I was because I didn't see. I saw street dudes as no. I'm for a vert guy. I'm an alcoholic. Like I'm a maniac.
Yeah,
You know what I
you're
mean? Like-
definitely early Metallica albums, and
Right.
I'm more of like the Black Album. Like for sure. Like the way you skated and everything, it was just like jump in the fire, you know.
Yeah,
and I
there you
and
go.
I was
Hey, I
definitely
was
more
thinking that,
wherever I
yeah.
may roam, sort of.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's But same
So
band.
you, dare I say,
Same band.
were like the Bill Burr of
Oh,
vert.
you son of a bitch.
What? I'm serious. I'm just trying to get to the point of it. You're you. Imagine if someone that was doing skating, for a little
I
for
like
a little
that.
while came in, you'd probably like, hey, you're that guy. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you move
Okay.
on.
In that area, yeah. I was definitely.
You would have behaved the same way.
I just
Bill
didn't
Burr-
look. I'm from an era where when I became one of the best, skateboarding died. So like there was a
Yeah.
time there where I was easily top 5 vert dude in the world, and I made no money. Like Tony
None.
Hawk was making like $1,500 a month, and he was the greatest skateboarder alive.
Yeah.
Skateboarding
Wow.
for
It was
vert
dismal.
became dead, and
It-
skateboarding died. but vert
Skateboarding
was
died, but vert was
worse.
big dead.
So like there was street dudes that could make a little bit of a living, but just a little bit. If you were a vert dude, you were fired. And
Wait,
it didn't
why?
matter if,
Why did
yeah.
this happen?
because vert was so popular in the 80s, and it was time for a transition. The magazine started to put street skating. Street skating was new,
And
exciting,
more accessible because you can just go out
Everyone
front
could
of your
do
house.
it. You didn't need a ramp.
Vert ran
Bingo.
skate parks started getting demolished. So there was like all
Oh.
the like Delmar, Upland, all these all these famous skate parks got dozed. So there was no shit for them to ride. Street skating came from what I'm led to believe, is these vert dudes were kicked out of the skate park and they were skating the curb in the parking lot.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Lucero, that's where Slappies
Yeah,
came
John
from.
Lucero and all these, and then the Nardises and the Gonzas and all these people started doing like really creative, cool shit and being vibrant, cool people just to watch and talk. Like Mark Gonzalez is still to me one of the
Yeah.
greatest humans that's ever lived. Like just listening to
sick.
the man talk, you're like, are you fucking really a human? Because I'm Rodney Mullen. Like, what the fuck are you, dude?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
seriously, who made you?
Yeah.
You know, and it's very, that's a rare thing. And then all of a sudden, street skating became, don't be in a contest. Don't go to a handrail like Neil Blender was like before his time. Neil Blender was like a person that was like, I don't answer to you. I don't answer
right.
to anything that any of you do. I will do a video part where I skate a bank that has 6-inch transition and 2 foot of vert,
And it's
I
in
will
a
spend
garage.
8 days on it and just do every trick that no one could give a shit about
Yeah.
because I don't care what's popular.
Yeah,
That
on a
was
banana board. Like
Yeah.
he was
Yeah, he
he was
makes
an artist. It was an artist
still-
that picked skateboarding.
Right. He is
right,
a
as one of the
creative
forms
genius.
as one of the forms of his art. And also there was something to the fact that like for a decade pretty much you were watching a ramp And so to see an urban landscape in different places, each clip, there's like a different background and there's cars going by and it's like there's a hustle and bustle. It created this new excitement. I started skating then. So I was obsessed with skateboarding for 2 years, didn't have a skateboard, was asking for a skateboard, got a skateboard 2 years, ran out front of my house like, I got it, where's everybody? And like looked around and there was nobody there. Yeah. So I skated, this guy, Jason McCowan, he lived 5 doors down from me. He played drums in like a punk band. He went to Danzig concerts. He had a Zorlak board, the Metallica Zorlak with the Crimson Ghost as his grip tape, like cut into pieces, just a huge crimson skull. And he taught me how to ollie. And I then skated out front of my house for 2 years completely alone. First year out front of my house, didn't even go around the block. Second year, went around the block to the other side of the neighborhood.
That's what made you, well, not all of it, but that's the thing that helped you. Like, if you start with nothing, because that's the thing that helped me. Like, you started by yourself, and then when you got a little bit better, then you found another person to skate with that made it more exciting. Then you found another thing, an obstacle that was actually built for skating to skate, and you'd already done all these years skating nothing, so it's more exciting. It helped you. Like, you had, because there's got to be a level of tolerance. When you first start skateboarding, the skateboard hates you. It gives you It gives you nothing. It makes you feel like nothing, and you'll never conquer it. But if you that's the thing that I got from it that I use in everything I do. Like comedy, you bomb, nobody cares. Like I'm hanging out with you in the green room of the Comedy Store, and then I leave and I do comedy in front of 4 people in an alleyway, and I'm like, I'm Jason Ellis, and I'm like, you're doing comedy to 2 people. One of them's not listening. You know, like nobody cares at all, and I'm like, yeah, we'll see, motherfucker.
Sometimes you get more out of those. Sometimes you get more out of those because it's our job. It's like, you know, I don't know if you guys are into surfing, whatever, but it's like I do think that comedy. I know, be nice. I know that comedy. I believe it's a little bit like surfing, but you have to make the waves yourself. So it's like you're making this momentum, and then you have to ride it. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do you get that sort of like rhythm going and that hypnosis? You know, it's also kind of like boxing. I think too. You can't be a second ahead or a second behind, and a lot of times, a lot of times you're like queuing up for a combination that's not going to pay off for another 2 minutes.
And it doesn't show up at first, and you keep coming, and then all of a sudden, when you started doing the blueprint computer download thing, there's a thing where, you know, I've been boxing for 15 years. I'm 50, man. Like I'm not supposed to learn stuff, but every now and then in boxing these days, especially from being sober, I'll start to like get a foot pattern where I'm like, and then I'm the chess match where I'm like, I've never known this chess match. Like, I come in and I bang, and you hit me, I hit you.
Yep.
And now I'm like, I'll fake, and then I see that you lift that hand if I fake. So if I make you fake that hand, then I'll go to this side and fake the other side, and then I'll go down low, but I'm actually going to go up high, and I'm doing all these steps in front. Like you're doing stand-up where I'm like, that person over there is looking funny, and while I'm telling this joke, then I'm going to add a little joke to it, but I'm definitely going to go over there and talk to that person about their shoes.
But
and then you're in the back of your mind listening to all that happen, and you're like, is my brain really doing that many things? Because when I did a show with you, the first time I did a show with you, still the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done in my entire life.
That is so wild to me.
1,300 people.
And this is, by the way, how wild our brains are. I'm not going to over-pathologize myself, but I thought you didn't like me. Because I was like, oh, this will be so great. He'll come do the show. And then we were in the green room together, and I was like, oh, maybe maybe he thinks I'm lame. I thought you thought it was corny.
I was like, 1,300 people. The last set I did a set. I've been doing it for about a year at the Dime Bar, so it's like 8 people.
That's on Fairfax.
I figured out how to do 10 minutes.
Okay.
Ryan Sickler, love you, Ryan Sickler, got me to do a show at Brea Improv. He had 600 people there, and my knees wouldn't stop shaking the whole time I did my 10-minute set.
Okay.
Whitney DMs me. I've met her, but I don't know her, and she's like, "Hey, I see you're doing comedy. Do you want to do a show with me?" And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to say no.
Totally.
But yeah, and then it's like a theater. And I'm like, a theater? How many people's in a theater? It's like 1,300 people. And I'm like, oh, I'm not ready. And then Tony's like, hey, man, like, I'll come. And I'm like, I don't want my friend to watch me.
Right.
I'm like, this is even worse.
I knew you'd say yes because I'm like, even if he's not funny, he's a masochist and he'll show up and do it.
But in the green room, I'm thinking, can you remember what your jokes are? So, like, she's like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, I got to talk about the thing. Don't forget the thing. And she's like, so you know, how have you been doing? And I'm like, I can't. Even,
I was distracting you.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm like envious that she's like bubbly and excited about life and not thinking about her upcoming set. Because I'm like, aren't you nervous? It's your show. Are you gonna remember what you're gonna say? And I'm like,
but now that you know her better, now you see her in the green room, and it's like everybody that's about to go up is kind of like you. They kind of separate a little bit. They start talking less. They're trying to like think about like how they're going to walk out, what it's going to be like out there. You're notorious for we talked about it the past week.
No, she's stumbling. She's in the middle of a conversation with you, and then someone goes, "You're on,"
and then just goes.
Big J. Ogerson does the same thing. He's just
really?
like wanking on to people, and he's like, "Oh, now," and then he goes out and destroys. I'm envious of it. When I see that, I go, "But I like getting pumped." You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to go out, I usually get up and start pacing, because I'm gonna be high energy, and if I stay low in the green room and come out, I might be low at the start, and I look like a prick. I got to be approachable when I come out. Like I got a game plan, and I'm like, you're new. You know what I mean? I love this. I'm full of fucking energy about it. I want to come out and be like, I'm gonna fuck. My thing is like, I want to be funny, but I also want to when I leave, I want people to learn something. I know it's crazy because I'm not educated, but I do know some
bold,
shit.
Jason.
I know some shit about life, and I'm like, I'm trying to be funny, but I also want people to go, you know what? Gay people aren't that bad. Because I know that there's always someone in the crowd that's thinking that. And then there's also stuff about depression and addiction and being sober where I'm out. I'm free. I want to tell you about it.
You want to share the treasure that you found.
Yeah, I want you to get it before you fucking die.
But are you dressed like this when you're delivering?
Sometimes, yeah, more now than ever. Yep.
So they really learned something from Hi-Ho Bill Burr.
I can't help it.
He needed more gold teeth for my grill burr to really land, but I'm sticking with it.
Just as soon as I get paid more, I tell Catherine it's happening. Like as soon as I make the money,
Sick.
It's all because I have the face. I can have all gold teeth. No one's going to be like, oh, that's a little too much. I am too much.
I think that I love that. That should be the name of your next book or your special or something.
I
had a pilot at HBO called A Lot that was like, I am a lot.
Yeah.
If you don't fuck with this, you're a little, and like I'm not gonna make myself smaller.
You're a little.
But the thing is about before going on, I think everyone's got like whatever their process.
Yeah.
But I think the key is the day of the show, I try not to talk to anybody. So that I'm so like, you know.
Can't wait to talk.
I can't wait to connect with people. So it's not like an effort. And then part of talking to people before I go on is that I want it to be like, I want to throw myself off. I want to throw myself off so I don't go out and do the same show. I want to actually like, you know, sometimes I'll come out and I'll have like something I'm going to say. There's a brand new joke or observation that might bomb, it might kill, but I want to throw myself off.
Yeah, wow, that's, to start without a plan, I find accidentally has really worked. Like then I settle
then it makes
and get
me
into
present.
myself.
It makes me in the present moment, and it makes me not go, I'm going to put on the show for these people, especially with podcasting now. People expect a conversation. They expect you to be present. I think they would rather you be present and connected to them than have an applause break joke for each joke.
Right.
I think they'd rather you be there, because then when you start going into this like rote thing that worked before, it's like sex or anything, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, I just feel like you're going through the motions. Like I paid money to like have an experience with you. So to me, it's more about connecting. But I do like flustering myself a little bit because I know that my like type A brain will go into like, let me make this show perfect. And the more you try to make it perfect, the less connected you are.
It's funny. It's like,
Is that how he is?
Yeah, I think
Is that how you are? What was your take on Chris before you met him? Sorry, go babe. Sorry, babe. Sorry, babe. Go ahead, babe.
Is that the alarm for let Chris speak?
Sorry, babe.
Every 4 hours.
You know what? I was just going to say that.
By the way, here's what I will say. For people who don't know Chris, he's actually, you're very like, what? Like, by the way, you know that I saw him skate for the first time a week ago?
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean?
In person?
Wait, you're saying that when you first met him, you didn't realize how good of a skateboarder he was?
No,
how did you meet?
I know so little about skating,
that,
and I'm gonna get in trouble here. He's such a husky, burly man.
Like a filled out dude.
I thought skaters were like skinny, wiry vegans that like wore, I don't know, airwalks. I don't know.
Watch it, all right?
That's just what I had seen. I know.
I thought comedians were just a bunch of skinny, like, receding hairline, angry white guys.
Fair.
Who the fuck are you?
And then you get in and you're like, oh, wait, that's not true.
Fair.
I think it's just when you look at people like you're so big, you're like, it would be too dangerous to skate with these bodies.
For me,
I know.
It is, right?
I
It
didn't
is.
understand.
Yeah.
So,
Did you not see me bend over to grab the microphone over there? I'm in excruciating
And
pain
you're like,
right
Well, that's what I said. So I didn't realize how,
now. I can barely dry my left foot when I get out of the shower right now.
I didn't know how
go on.
masochistic you, because I'd be like, well, he can't be really successful because if he fell, it would be devastating to
So
his
she thought
body.
it was like, oh, good for him. Like, good for him.
I
Like,
was
he
proud
loves
of him.
skateboarding, but like, good for him. I wonder what he like does. You know,
Because he has a woodworking business, so I think it's good that you have a thing you can do that's not going to, injure you all the time when he's healing from injuries. But like, he's got woodworking, and I saw him. He was showing off this axe that he had made and a box, and I was like, oh, he's like a woodworker who likes to skate.
Yeah.
Any man that is attracted to a female comedian is a radical feminist. I was like, you think women are funny? This is wild. I was like, this is the nicest person I've ever met. You came over. He was getting a tattoo, a snake tattoo, and he came over and took my trash out. That's not a metaphor. The garbage, and then he started waxing all this sounds sexual. He started waxing my cutting boards and just fixing the things in my house.
Trying to like, I tightened up all the knobs. Like,
he's so funny to me. Like, he kills me.
Yeah.
Like, see, you don't believe me? I swear.
Yeah.
I do. He
You can see
made
his
jokes.
face.
He was here last night for dinner. He made several jokes.
Did you do some
And I was like,
homework?
he's very funny.
I didn't mean to.
You know what, Whitney? I have a similar experience, except he didn't fuck me. But when I met
You
him,
don't
I
know
was
that.
like, street dude, whatever. Like, and he's one of the best dudes. And I'm like, you're a nerd. Like, you're not gonna like me.
Such a nerd.
But he said things that within whatever, because I hit my head a lot. But I remember, like, from the night that we hung out, from there on out, whenever I saw Chris, I would go over and hang out with him because Chris is all right. And and for me
we would
back
kick
then,
it.
it was like there was very few skateboarders that I would consider that, you know?
Because a lot of
And I
times...
was surprised. The first time we hung out, it was like everything he said, I was like, who the fuck are you? I had no idea. Like, I kind of felt bad. I'm like, this whole time.
You were
This
cool.
whole time.
And that's the same thing.
Yeah.
And this is with comics too, I think sometimes it's like, I assume if I had known he was any more successful, I would not have been interested at all. Like, I've never wanted to date someone in the public eye or like famous.
Really?
So
but
funny.
now
I think it works better because you're both.
so I accidentally stumbled into this. It is
Right.
kind of the life hack, especially when you are forward facing and you have vampires and people from your past that are trying to exploit you and hurt you and, use the court of public opinion to try to destroy you. We both have that.
Mm-hmm.
And to talk about that with someone that hasn't experienced it, it just sounds like you're bragging or you're asking for pity for something that is like,
Right.
a champagne problem or something like that. So this
It's
is-
a weird thing because these days, more than ever, if somebody does accuse you of doing something that isn't cool, the public is just so quick to have a hardcore one side or the other opinion, where it's like, do you know the person? Have you met either one of the people? And it's like, yeah, man, but trust me, they are fucked up. And I'm like, what are you basing it on? And,
Right.
and it's like no one will even listen to the argument. It's just like, nope,
Yeah.
I've made up my mind. He's a piece of shit, or she's a piece of shit,
Yeah.
and that's it. That's
But
the end of
think
it.
about-
You can't convince me otherwise. And I'm like, where did you get it from? Well, one time on Twitter, I saw someone say, and I'm like, dude, that's like we're talking about someone's whole life here. Their
Right.
whole try because I've lived in so many different people's shoes. It's easier for me. Like old me would have been like, yeah, trash that person straight away. But I've had people say things about me where I go, whoa. I mean, I am an asshole, but that's not true. That's crazy. And then I'm like, wow, people have said that
Yeah.
about a lot
But
of other
think
people.
about what happens
I
when-
wonder if that's true.
when you believe that, when you're like, yeah, that person is a piece of shit, it usually means you're insecure. It usually
Yeah.
means that you said you used to do that to people. Same.
Right.
You need to judge someone else. You need to make a snap judgment. You need to say someone's a piece of shit because in comparison, it makes you feel, you must be better, when we
Yeah.
start. So I think that whenever people in the court of public opinion that do go, oh yeah, that person said that thing in the court of public opinion, which by the way, people go to the court of public opinion because they know they wouldn't win in court.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if something happens that is illegal, you go to court, okay? And then for people that say like, well, I'm not going to go to court because it would cost me money. Not if you're telling the truth.
Right.
It won't. So if you go to the court of public opinion, what you're saying probably already isn't, based in any kind of reality or truth, because you're going to the people, that are addicted to self-righteous indignation, and the people that, want to basically lambast other people to feel better about themselves. So I do have compassion for those people. When someone sees something on the internet that's not true, not founded in reality, just, someone's trying to destroy someone else, they go, yeah, that person is an asshole. Like, it's hard because I'm like, I know what you're doing. I did that when I was insecure too. It made me feel better to think someone was an asshole. You know what I mean? It made me go like, well, you must not be a total piece of shit because you've never done that.
It's a great distraction from all that you have to do and all you have to worry about. And it's like somebody made the decision for me. Like I can just go black and white.
Yeah.
That person's out, and then move and then be like, like something new to focus on instead of your boss is an asshole, instead of like that friendship. You may have outgrown that friendship and you don't want to, give them a call for that barbecue you have, but like, it's going to be awkward, like whatever you're avoiding in the day.
Yeah. It's also like, so we've bonded so deeply on that because it's been so hard, like, for people that aren't in the public eye to sort of understand when someone has like a vendetta and just wants to ruin your life. It's, I think when you're forward facing and someone that wants to be famous or get clout, like, and they can't do it on their own, they're gonna go like, let me attack someone that does have it and I'll get some relevance that way or whatever it is,
And then we also like, because comedy and skateboarding do have so many interesting, adjacent lanes, right? There's so many character traits that you end up like, she had a completely different life and a completely different, job, but somehow we learned the same lessons.
Yeah.
And then we get together with the same value system and the same things that we hold value in like our love languages or whatever. And then also like what causes us to feel happy and fulfilled all lines up. And so it was like, oh, this is like a really weird situation where we just kind of like all these things are like
And the things that kind of made us, and I'm curious if this is the case for you as well, I'm learning more about you as we get closer, but like the things that make me good at what I do, it's hard to say that, I know, and it's embarrassing, but what makes him great at what he does is you don't give up on something impossible. It's like whatever, Wallenberg, you hit it and you go, well, I'm now one failure closer to making it. I said, you hit it, and you just go, oh, you just keep trying. You just try harder. You just keep hurting yourself until I get it. Same with comedy. I just need to try that joke again. I need to try it again. And in relationships, especially toxic relationships that are not working, you can't do Wallenberg with a person.
Yeah.
What's crazy is there was a time there where I've always had that determination. I have it tattooed on my back. I got it when I was like 19, and it's helped me get through a lot of stuff in my life.
But you can't see it.
But when it came to relationships, I never pointed that ability at relationships. Like making adjustments. Like if I'm trying to trick and I can't make it, if you try it like 100 times, and I'm talking, and Chris knows just as well as I do.
Yeah.
I've done 3 days where I've tried the same trick for 3 days. I get there, I warm up, I try it. I don't make it for 2 hours.
You've probably tried a relationship for 3 days.
No, but I've been. Let me finish. Fucking maniac.
Which lasts a lot longer if you're not sleeping.
That's Joe Perry.
I will start to try doing it in a different way. You're going to knock over that coffee.
Okay.
I will start to try doing different techniques to make the trick work. In relationships, I would just bang my head against the wall over and over again with the same outcome and go, what's wrong with this person? And then it took many mistakes and divorces to go, okay, the pattern I see is you. You're the problem. Like, it's not them. They're saying the same thing. When we leave and we get divorced, they're saying the same thing that the other one said. You need to learn. You need to make adjustments. You need to accept your faults and start fixing them. But first, you got to face them. And because I have this thing in skateboarding where I'm a tough coach. You're a piece of shit. You fucking weak prick. Fucking get up and go. And it's like, you're not a weak prick. You're not a piece of shit. You made a mistake. You can make an adjustment. You're still a good guy. Like, you can do this if you do it, go about it a different way. Relearn, do this whole thing a different way. And it's like, you already knew that, but you never could do it in the thing that is like, I skate all the time. I've also not skated, but I've fucking always been in a relationship. I want to love somebody and I want to be loved. And you're just doing the same. What do you mean I can't have sex with other people? Like, Jesus, dude.
Well,
it doesn't work that way. But sooner or later it will. No, it won't.
Well, I think that what also happens is you go, like you do the small tweaks to a skate trick to try to make it. Eventually, you'll probably land it, right? But you never took a second to be like, tweaking it and then realize that you're actually surfing, you're not skating. Ooh. And you go, oh, because you never gave the thought to, let me back up, maybe we're not right for each other.
Yeah,
you know, like maybe we don't value the same things and this is an impossible task.
Here's the difference with the vert skating is when you ask the question about vert and street, and this is not for all vert and street comparisons, but in vert skating, when you're doing something that's really big, which is mainly what I would do, if you make a big mistake, you get really hurt. So there's like this other thing that involves like fear. Like, I want to do the trick. I've got to think about doing the trick. I've got to think about the technical aspects of making the trick. But also there's this big beast that's involved, like the mega ramp stuff. There's difficult technical tricks you can do on mega ramp. If you do it wrong, you can kind of die. Like, not die, pretty close. Like, Jake, I thought he died.
Yeah.
So we can die on that thing. So there's, like, this adrenaline that's cool. I love it. Don't get me wrong. But it's also, like, I don't want this adrenaline my whole life. Like, I feel like I'm in a war. Like, I feel like I'm dodging bullets.
Right.
There's anxiety where it's like, I'm going to go. And they're like, good. And, like, even when I ride vert now, like, 52, Tony's 55. Like, when we're, like, trying to do something that's, like, head high, that's, like, hard, it's like, hey, man, good luck. You know? Because it's like, we're borderline. If you were like, hey, you're kind of stupid, I'm not even going to argue with you. I'm like, I know, right? Like, this is like, the risk reward is like, yeah, if I make this, it'll be pretty cool. For who? For like four people?
Well, also, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, also, you're not
Catherine
doing
would
it
be like,
alone.
oh, that was cool. Like, she didn't even get it. And Tony would be like, dude, nice. And then that's like, but that's also like, you know, like when I did a 540 the other day and Tony wasn't there for it, he texts me and just goes, dude! Like, I'm almost tearing up in my hotel room because he knows what I did was, for me, my level and how old I am. It's not supposed to be made again, dude. You don't skate enough to make that kind of trick.
But if you got 5,000 people on, social media saying that was awesome, would you feel that?
Doesn't matter.
Until Tony texts, that's when it matters.
That's no disrespect to all that. I'm super happy that is a thing that happened. And I love that people are like, man, you inspire me to skate at your age. I love that. That's awesome. But Tony's, I've respected that guy since I was like a little kid. He's a god to me.
Yeah.
And now he's a friend of mine who I know he loves me. Yeah. That was the other thing. This is a weird thing. I said one time I did a 360 rail at his ramp, just me and him skating. And I hadn't done one for 20 years. Oof. And I was on the ramp and I was getting emotional. I was like, I love you, man. And because I'm choking up. And he didn't say anything. And I was like, I get it. Like, we're dudes. And then it was like 2 weeks later, I did that show with you. And when I was walking off the stage after I did the set, he jumped on my back and I didn't know who it was. And I was like, what the fuck? And he said he loved me. Aww. And I was like, this is the gayest shit you and I will ever do, ever. But I knew it was like he couldn't say it at the ramp, but he got me back where
it mattered.
He felt he could do it right there. But it was like, I know he does. And it's like there's a respect thing where he made skateboarding, and skateboarding made me, and he's such an ambassador and such a great example of a human being, and skateboarding, what it's done for me, and all the people in the world, and it all coming together, and like, I'm going to die. Like, I don't know how much longer I got, and I got a key to this ramp, and I'm on the ramp with him. And I'm doing stuff that
it's also
none of us ever thought we would still do.
Well, it's also incredible that, like, and I know we've probably talked about this, but you've definitely thought of it. But, like, how incredible is it that you just so happen to be born at the time that Tony Hawk is alive, and you get to watch him skate, and now you're friends with him. Like, the Tony Hawk is alive in this time period, and I just happen to be there. Fucking nuts.
I was in a contest. My father paid for me to be in the contest, the ramp ride in Australia, and I was late to qualifying, so they put me in the fourth heat with Tony Hawk, and Tony Hawk is standing on the ramp, and I'm standing next to him, and my little brother and my dad are filming me with a camera, and I'm like, and you can see my face that I'm in awe that he's standing next to me. And like at one point I'm looking at him and he looks to my direction and I immediately look away because I can't get eye contact with the great Tony Hawk. And it's like at this point it's not real. It's like a fantasy.
There are certain people that I still fan out on every time I see him.
Who?
Eric Costin, Guy Mariano, Mark Johnson, Rodney Mullen, Tony Hawk. You just go, whoa, man.
We did have dinner.
Lucky.
We had dinner.
I'm lucky to be alive
We
now.
had dinner with Tony the other night. We FaceTimed
Yeah,
you. And you were a little like.
Yeah, you should
weird.
be. You have to be.
Yeah.
It's that like that.
It'd be weird if you weren't. Yeah.
Yeah, like
cool that you were.
skateboarding owes, like if they owe anybody, they owe Tony Hawk and Rodney Mullen. Those are the two dudes.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like we owe them everything. It's nowhere close to what it is without those two people.
Right, and because you've got what you've got from skateboarding, and I've got what I've got from skateboarding, and then also the things that you've passed on to millions, you don't know it, but the millions of people that you've influenced to skate and then travel the world and have the joys that you and I have had on the road with our other brothers and sisters of skateboarding.
Yeah.
Those two triggered all of it.
That's
Totally.
so cool.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
owe
like-
them just like our favorite musicians, guitarists, like Joe Perry, right? Joe Perry gives it up to Muddy Waters or to BB King or anybody of the old blues stuff.
Right.
But that didn't really hit you as much. Like these kids that watch me now, the Rodney Mullen, Tony Hawk era doesn't hit them as much as my era with P-Rod and things like that hit them.
That's why
But
we have to talk the way we
go,
talk.
hey, look back.
We have
just
to.
check it out. It's worth watching.
That's why
like
Andy
they're better
Anderson is
than
a-
we are. Like as far as athletes go, like you think like, dude, I mean, they just keep getting better and better. As far as athletically goes, no, they don't. The humans do not get better athletically. We are if anything, we are equal to the dudes that were skating in the early 90s doing like with 39 millimeter wheels doing back
Dude,
three
I
step
have a
double
joke.
sets.
I have a joke in my set about Tony Hawk where I talk about how there's the time there where I competed against him, and after the contest he would win, and I would be lucky to get top 10, and then he would stay on the ramp and continue to skate, and I would go get cocaine and hookers.
Right.
Because it was the 90s and I got top 10 in the world, and like if you got top 10 in the world, you got cocaine and hookers. Like that's what I was.
That was the prize purse, I think.
remember looking at him on the ramp and going, he's not going to get any cocaine if he stays up there. and then part of my joke is like looking back there, I'm like, there is no Jason Ellis pro skater, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I feel like that might have had something to do with the decisions of doing cocaine and hookers after it. But then I say, I'm in the game.
Unless
as
they
a hidden
added that
character.
to the game.
By the way, hiring hookers, radical feminist, giving a woman money, supporting a woman, paying for sex. Thank you. A lot of men are not doing it. And they're just doing these transactional things where they know it's going to be that dynamic and they don't pay. You financed someone's daughter's college education.
The first time I've ever received a compliment for getting a prostitute.
Love you. Can I ask 3 questions?
Yeah. Then we got to wrap it up.
I know you do, but I have these questions that I want to know. Number 1, do you think, because I look at a lot of skateboarders and comedians and I see that they, have rough personal lives, whether it's, his dad left. So even though he was in something that, didn't work, he's like, I'm not going to leave. Like my dad left, you don't leave. Do you think that what you said earlier about the therapy, about skating being therapy for you, and I'm sure you do too, you didn't hit a bottom enough to go to therapy, actual therapy, soon enough? Do you know what I mean? It's like comedy for me in a lot of ways. I was able to work out my feelings and get, the validation I needed for people corroborating my reality by doing stand-up, right? Because I always thought I was invisible and crazy. And then I would say something on stage, people laugh. I go, okay, so I'm not crazy. So I didn't actually go work on myself because that was like a Band-Aid that was keeping me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Yeah, I get
the success of skateboarding, it's a different era, so it was harder to go to therapy back then. But like it's more of a acceptable thing these days. Like when I came from an old school, like my father was like, if you go to therapy, you're gay. But the
You're like, you ain't
success,
seen nothing yet.
the success fully stalled that I would do that. Like if I had have not been, if I hadn't got a payoff from all the hard work in skateboarding, it would have been, I would have been quicker to go, okay, you've got problems.
Right.
But because I was like a problem child, a frustrated, scared little boy, and I pushed all that energy into skateboarding, skateboarding paid off. Like, even when there was the era of like you didn't make a lot of money, I was still one of the coolest people in my little world. So I didn't need therapy. Like, was I an asshole? Did I neglect people? Did I treat women like in a way that they didn't deserve because I wasn't thinking about their emotions? Or hell yeah, I did.
You thought
like,
about their bank accounts.
I can't even remember it. Like I was just like, I'm having sex with some girl on the road, and then I go, she's like, I think I love you, and I'm like, wow, that's retarded. And then I go off and sleep with somebody else. I'm breaking people's hearts and not understanding that I'm doing it.
There's something wrong with that person too that thinks they're in love with you after one thing. So that's
but
not.
Still, there's like
but you can't change them, but you can change you.
That's it. And I could have just said, look, that's crazy. You know, like I'm definitely probably not going to reach out to you again, or even before it happens. Just so you know,
You should
I'm
just
on
let
the
them
road.
know in
I'm not going to
advance.
do
Skaters
this.
don't make as much as you think they do.
Well, I don't know about now. How are they now?
It's weird. Skateboarding's bigger than it's ever been, but there's like a big cloud of money that floats above, and some people are getting it, but it's a very few amount. Like, let's say there's probably 20 skaters in the world that make a good living, and everybody else is just getting by.
Right, because I know vert guy like Jimmy Wilkins to me is one of the greatest skateboarders alive.
Amazing.
And he doesn't make a lot of money.
Right.
And I just think because people don't appreciate vert skating, and it's high time it flipped. I don't want street dudes to not make money. I just want vert dudes to. I don't want to hear this sub story for like what. We're talking 30 years now where vert dudes don't get paid, and I'm like, what? Look what they're doing.
Because it's sponsorships, right?
It's because we're not cool. We ride one ramp and we compete. There's, as I said earlier, a street dude cannot compete. It's actually cooler to not compete. If you are creative and you have great artistic photos and videos where the backdrop and the trick you're doing is stunning, then that is like real money. People buy your shoes.
Yeah.
Jimmy Wilkins can't sell a shoe because I love it. But because I've got another job, but we're dead. We're ninjas. We're the last of a dying breed.
It sounds like what it is what's the commodity to what you do is that you're selling a lifestyle, and there's so many facets of the lifestyle that you can sell as a street skater.
Bingo.
There's only one lifestyle that you're selling as a vert skater, which is I'm on this ramp, which isn't the coolest lifestyle.
And if you do
there's a lot of
like
competing lifestyles to be sold.
There's real injuries in vert, like, and there's a section of like
offense taken.
What, did you stub your toe one time, Chris?
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
I put his socks on every morning.
If you do like 12 stair rails and shit, you can get just as worked on than you can on vert.
Right.
But you don't do 12 stair rails in the first 3 years of your skateboarding.
Totally.
In vert, you're dropping in the first 3 years, and now you're doing like 35 mile an hour. If you do it wrong, you get knocked out.
You know what's
not getting knocked out?
Also, there's just way more street skaters than there are vert skaters because of the ramp. Like so there's so many more people that you market to as a street skateboarder, and then those video parts, like for a long time in the 90s, right? Like every team had to have one token vert dude. Like you had vert covered if you had one person, like Mad Circle had Toss Papas, right?
Yeah, we were all looking for the team that didn't have a vert guy.
The team that didn't have a vert guy, and then the fast forward button became called the vert button.
Yeah,
because you'd be fast forwarding the
everybody
vert part.
fast forwarded our parts.
Can you tell me, and I just met your new gal who I texted with already. I love her. Her pupils are the correct size. I love everything about her. I'm obsessed with her. I walk in, there's 25 dogs.
She's a host. She has
32 legs, 25 dogs. There's honey in a big bucket. Not even a sexual thing, just for health.
Yep.
I'm obsessed with her. How can people that love you and love him for the right reasons and don't want to hurt him, he hasn't really been in a lot of those, but how do we support your need to jump off buildings and do all these things,
go wee,
but not, micromanage or try to control you because we're scared you're going to get hurt and we're going to lose you?
Do you feel that way with him?
Yes. Because I know he has to do this thing. And now that I know he's really good at it, which I do, people come up to him and they're like, you're my hero, you're why.
Does that make it feel better that you know that he's really good at it?
Because
then the safety, like, is it?
You'd think.
You would if you thought about it.
But hold on. I see where you're going with that. But also, when you are really good, you're gonna.
The demands get higher.
You're you might not be as humble to.
Watch it.
Your back being perpendicular to your pelvis. There's
Fair.
certain things I don't know.
Yeah, because the job needs to get
Just
done.
tell me I'm wrong.
Here's how I see it.
'Cause when
And I've
men
said
need-
this to several people. Look, it's dangerous. Yeah, right. I get it. I could get hurt. I can take it.
You can take it.
I
okay.
won't die. And that's all you need to worry about.
The way
I'm
you just
coming
said
home.
that to me is so. That's what I need. Can you say that to me?
In the
'Cause he's-
accent?
He's definitely
Jason, let him borrow your head.
But does something else happen when you start skating less? Like, what am I in for? When you start skating less now, is he going to get into like?
He's not. He's
Way
not.
more
It's different
woodworking.
if you're like a drug guy or like then
No.
you're gonna turn to that. He's not that. He's
Uh-uh.
already a
Not that guy.
coherent
At all.
human being.
Yeah.
He's a businessman. Like
Yeah.
he'll
That's
evolve
true.
and be more creative in other. We have to check. I'm
Fingers
a comedian.
crossed.
I cannot stop
Jeez
being a
Louise.
comedian. I
Yeah.
cannot stop thinking about jokes. I know that that's the thing that I have to have one of those things.
Love it.
Because if I've lost skateboarding, I dabble. I go down there and I play.
Yeah, you
Wee, fun! I didn't get hurt today. Yay! Or sometimes I fall and get really hurt doing
Yeah.
2 mile an hour board slide, and I post it on Instagram, and it's embarrassing. This is okay. This is my life.
still win.
Comedy is like I've won it.
Yes, you
know what I
have
mean?
to.
And
Yeah.
because I have that. Skateboarding doesn't burn that I can't do it.
By the way, Rodney Dangerfield didn't start till he was like 60. This is actually, I think, a great
I'm the
time
new
to start.
Rodney
you got-
Dangerfield. That's what it's going to be. Hey, what's up? Show me your puss. Come on.
He got no respect. Now he's the most respected.
Right. So I feel like he's one of those people that is prepared and aware
Yeah.
that it's not forever.
Yeah.
And won't be like a I'm still good. Like no, like because there's some of us. It does happen to some of us because we're younger. We didn't see it coming.
Right.
Next thing you know, you're not
Yeah.
popular and you don't have a job anymore.
Yeah.
He's prepared and he never lived in the clouds. Like he's one of the greatest skateboarders there's ever lived.
Oh, thank
but he
you.
doesn't act like it. Like
No.
he has the same thing as Tony. Like Tony is like if it really boils down to it, you probably can't get him to say it. But he
No.
is one of the greatest skateboarders that
Jeez
ever lived.
Louise.
Is that your alarm to say you can talk
No,
again?
no, it's not me.
That is you.
No.
I just spent all this time saying how honest you are as a person.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, that's your phone.
I thought that was
Yeah.
more of a joke because you watched it go off, and so me saying no, it was like a.
Yeah, but
It was
he
me.
doesn't walk around like
Uh-huh.
he is one of the like.
Not
you
in
don't
the
owe-
slightest.
You don't
That's
owe
part of the
him.
reason I didn't know he was so
Right.
successful. I was like, you're not acting like some asshole that would have gotten all these trophies.
Because he doesn't think it, which means when it's over, he can move on because he never thought that the world owed him anything for being that good in the first place.
And I also think that our before lives, before we, decided to like figure out a way to get self-esteem, we surrounded ourselves with people that kept our self-esteem low also.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that didn't want us to shine and didn't want us to, have the power that we have or like feel
I think
the
Chris
glory.
has always hung out with people that are always they're equal in the level of skateboarding. Like he hangs out with skateboard legends. That's his people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who also understand that. Yeah, I'm really good at skateboarding, but that doesn't make me better than any other human.
That's
or
right.
any like we're all
Yeah.
still people. You all deserve even respect. Like if you're a dick, I'll tell you you're a dick. But if you're a good guy or a good girl, like I respect you, and you don't owe me. You don't have to open the door for me. You don't have to like. There's
Right.
no. Do you know who I am? Like how dare any of us say that?
No, like, do
know
you?
who
Have you
I
heard
am?
of me? It's
Like,
more that.
and
Do you know
every
who
now
I
and then,
am?
every now and then when I'm trying to do a skateboard trick, I'll be like, "Come on, man, you know who
That's
you
to
are."
yourself.
You know what I mean?
That's to yourself.
Yeah,
That's
but I
that's
scream it on a
motivation. That's
mountaintop.
great.
Do you know who I
That's
am? Me
great.
and my publicist are still trying to figure it out. Do you know? I don't know. Does anyone know? Can I ask last thing? You guys should have done this without me. I don't know why I'm here.
It's
Just
adorable.
slowing this
Everyone
down.
wants to know.
Because you're
Whitney
so cute,
Cummings
man.
is in love with a pro skateboarder. Chris Cole is a pro skateboarder. He's in love with Whitney Cummings. Is it true? Is it real? Is it just a gossip? Do they ride horses together? Do they make out? Have they boned? Oh my gosh, she's got a kid. How's that all work?
How about this? By the
Here it
way,
is.
not afraid of jumping off a building, scared of horses. Little note. Should I
Wait,
do-
you're scared of horses?
All right.
He has a healthy respect for horses. Healthy respect for horses.
Healthy respect
as
for
everyone
horses
should.
because they are machines. They are massive. They are stronger than you.
They're
the ultimate machine, dude.
I grew up. My mother was obsessed with horses, and in order to keep a pony that she had at these stables, we would go and we would take care of all the horses at the stables. That was the agreement. And so I grew up around these horses, living in a townhouse, but going to this
Did they kick
farm.
you?
I did get kicked.
Yeah,
I did get kicked. I got stepped on my throat.
We're
I
both
got
comics. We're like, we got to
stepped
speed
on.
up the story.
It was wild. So I have a healthy respect because I've been bit, kicked, stepped on.
Which I'd like to hear the horse's side of the story.
So you might have had it coming.
Yeah, you got to let them know.
It sounds like you deserved it.
For sure.
Well, nobody taught you how to.
Everybody I bit
was
had
just-
it coming.
I'm obsessed though
I would
with
like sneak up on him, like
I'm obsessed
surprise,
with,
like behind him,
Wait,
get kicked.
did
like,
you?
No, no. But like I did startle them in some way, just
Right.
not knowing. But
I'm
like,
obsessed with like
it was my fault.
superhero origin stories. You know? Didn't you also have leg braces?
I did. I had leg braces when I was a kid.
Who braces?
Leg braces.
You Forrest Gumped yourself.
I did. Yeah. Had
Holy
Does that make me
shit,
the girl with
baby.
AIDS?
What?
Jenny.
Yeah. What were they? It was because your legs were bowed.
I had really bowed legs, so it was like a way to straighten my legs out.
How long did you have
That
them?
worked.
No idea.
That might have helped.
I think a slight bow to the legs, just very, very slight, makes you more athletic. But too much bow, you have problems.
Right. And you have a bad style.
Straight, like perfectly straight legs, sometimes you have problems.
Yeah.
A little bow, athletic
If you didn't
prime.
get leg braces, would you be an even better skater?
No, but I'd probably ride horses better.
Yeah, that's true. And then also, I'm obsessed with y'all's minds. Like, didn't you one time? I laughed and I didn't mean to, but I said something about a short bus, and you were like, "I rode a short bus."
I did. I went to a school for learning disabilities for 2 years.
Me too.
And I would have to take
I
a short
failed.
bus, yeah.
But don't
You
you think
failed.
whatever they
I failed special
that
needs
school?
class. Yeah.
Oh.
I failed everything in the last 3 years of my schooling.
I went, so 8th and 9th grade, I was going to fail out in 7th. I mean, I barely pulled it. So 8th and 9th grade, I went to a different school. It was over in Trenton, New Jersey. And like, I went to a school for learning disabilities, had to take the short bus. And then for 2 years. And then and I kind of learned how I learn so that when I came back to school, I wouldn't fail completely. But I did graduate high school, like unlike a lot of the other skaters like who dropped out. I was like, well, I spent all this time. I'm going to get that trophy at the end. They let me walk, but then I had to go to summer school because I had missed so many days because I was already like skating and going to contests.
Did you
and
ever
stuff.
dream when you didn't skate? Did you think about skating in your head and do skateboard tricks in your head all day?
All day, every single day. And
That's
I would
what I-
work it in, like if you had to work something into a sentence, you had to like nouns and verbs and stuff. It would always be about skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like in my like 5th grade, 6th grade, like it was just everything
I
was
failed
skateboarding.
so much that I just got bullied for being a tard at school, and then I like hooked up with one of the only girls that was cute in the school. So then people used to beat me up. My first taste of fame was I was known for the kid that got beat up in the cricket nets for a whole lunch break. So
A whole lunch
I didn't want to
break.
go to school. It's like the batting pits, whatever. But I started going into an alleyway and not going to school, and I would hang out in an alleyway from 9 till 3
Bad boy.
and sit there and do skateboarding in my head.
yeah.
Oh,
And it fucking worked.
it does work. There, like after a certain point, this is real like first world bullshit. I'll say it, but at a certain point, and maybe if people aren't at that point yet, they'll get some inspiration here. At a certain point, when you've done so many hours, probably 20,000 hours of skateboarding, you can get on a plane, you can sit on a plane, and you can think about a trick, and you can go through all of the possible outcomes in your head within minutes.
Yeah.
Learn the trick, get off the plane, do the trick,
Yeah.
without having ever done it.
There's a famous story of somebody who was somewhere in Asia, was a political prisoner who was a concert pianist, and they let him out of jail, and he did a piano concert like that night because he said he'd been practicing in his mind the entire time he was in jail.
There you go.
You
Same
know what
shit.
my problem is with you?
Can't wait.
You should talk more.
Oh,
I typically do.
He's
We're like
amazing.
three idiots, and
He's
you're just
amazing.
over
He's
here.
fantastic.
This is how he knows if it's this kind of a guest that I'm gonna talk a lot, and he wants you to try to get some things in. He's the person that makes this all work. Like, he's dealt with Jason not sober, who's like, wait, what was I saying? And he goes, you were saying this. Or, what am I talking about? Like,
Yeah,
he's the
Yeah,
one that
yeah,
patience
yeah.
is.
He's the one that pulls the Jason Ellis show together.
Yeah.
Like, there's been a decade or two, or depending on the year or the month, where I'm not fucking here. I'm just
Yeah.
here babbling about God knows what, and it's like, okay, Jason made a funny. Now let's actually get back to like some sort of like constructed show. The Jason Ellis show has lasted 2 decades because of him.
Well,
So
I'm
when it's time for you, this off your rocker gonna go. But anyway, can I just ask? Let me ask this one thing. Is it okay if I do this? Yeah, you're the guest.
yeah,
So
but
and then there's me. Like, did I ever tell you about me? Do you know how good I am? Because I just want to tell you a quick thing.
I feel like you two podcasting together, so many skaters are gonna like want to hear this, and I'm just in the way. So I'm just trying to facilitate.
No, it's more if he was on
No
Hawk
way,
versus
babe.
Wolf, yeah. But this is more. The fans of this show are more like, oh wow,
Yeah.
skateboarding.
Mm-hmm.
We don't usually get into that.
Yeah,
very
we can
much.
pick it up over there with the
Yeah.
grip tape grit.
Get into the
No,
weeds.
I think this is
what Tony
people are
says.
gonna people
Shields
are gonna
off,
like
yeah.
love this. Like I don't want to be in the way.
No,
you know
the
what I mean?
skate fans need you there too. These guys haven't even brought up Wallenbergs once.
We have.
I know, I'm the one bringing it up constantly. You know when you like learn something new and you like have to tell everybody about it. But I am fascinated by the how to emotionally support someone that does what you do.
Let us love it. Just let us love it.
Do you know what? You actually probably have toxoplasmosis.
What is that?
This makes so much sense.
Oh, my.
Toxoplasmosis is the do you want to Google if you
Yeah,
just
please.
I'm going to
Google it.
I'm going to get
She always says
I'm
when I
gonna-
ask her an obvious question.
This is how much I love you. I refuse to allow a resentment to be built. We are at a time in the world where if you are asking me a question that is easily Googled, you hate me. You hate me. You hate my guts. Well, because I'm just gonna have to Google it, or I'm gonna have
Totally,
to explain
I'm
it to
creating
you.
work for you.
I'm not your Siri. I'm not Siri. I'm a
Yeah.
person.
I try to intercept it early myself, and I'll go.
Anyway,
Google
what
it
is
to myself.
plasmosis?
Toxoplasmosis is a parasitic infection caused by toxoplasma, a single-celled organism that can affect humans and other animals. Okay, oh, interesting. But what it does is it makes it so that you have a higher tolerance for fear. It's like something about your amygdala doesn't activate the same way. So people that are fear seekers, people that are adrenaline seekers, high-risk athletes, many times have toxoplasmosis. And it is a parasite that rats, it breeds or it duplicates whatever in the stomach of a cat. So you'll see videos, look up rat toxoplasmosis. A rat will try to get near a cat and try to get eaten. It stops having fear of a cat because it needs the virus.
It tries to meet up.
I don't think I
Yes.
have that.
But how do we blame this on our mothers?
No, I got it. People often get it from eating undercooked meat. So if you want to be racist against Australians and say that, she undercooked the shrimp on the Barbie,
Yeah.
he could
Right.
have gotten it that way.
That's
Also,
why I grew up
contact
shrimp and the Barbie every day.
breakfast
They're
lunch.
not as scared.
And
Didgeridoo.
contact from cat feces. Your mom was a huge animal person.
Yeah.
Did she
I
clean
used
up?
to eat rabbit
Nice.
shit when I
And
was
you're
know.
not,
Thank you,
you're at a
Tully.
pet,
Thank you.
You worked
Yeah.
at a pet store?
Yeah, my parents owned a pet store, and I lived above it.
Can I ask a question? Is it okay if I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, just fuck you. I am
being mocked?
terrified of everything. I am not.
Interesting.
You're
You're right.
I do not want pain. Like, people think I'm like a masochist. Like, I love pain. I'm like, I do not. I won't. You will not beat me.
It's more of a
Are you-
competitive thing.
no, it's
Stubborn.
like you're trying to scare me.
Yeah.
I'll fucking show you what scary is.
I'll
Yeah.
show you
And like my
guys.
skateboard, the ramp is trying to flinch me from not doing stuff, and I've backed down before, and it's eaten
It
me.
And you
feels
hate
terrible.
the way it
yeah.
feels.
So I would rather get knocked out by Vanderlei Silva before I say to Vanderlei Silva, no, I will not fight.
That's a
you.
great way to
Right.
operate when you move through life, though, is because to me, I'm all about shame avoidance. What do I need to do in this moment to not have shame later? Because that is intolerable.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it means like overcoming being super scared of this, I'd
Yeah.
rather be super scared of this than have shame later.
And there's a mindset, there's a switch when you do it for as long as I have. There's a switch that I will fucking click it. If the only
Yeah.
difference is now because I'm older, sometimes it's not necessary to click that switch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll
Right.
think about the afterwards. Like, is this worth
Choose worth the
flicking the
squeeze.
switch on this one? Tomorrow when you wake up and you did that, or it went bad. Was it
Yeah.
worth it? No, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Back off. Sometimes I go snowboarding now. I'm like, I don't love snowboarding. I like snowboarding, but I don't love it. And I'll look at the rail and I'll go, ooh, you could probably backside lip that. And I go, click the switch. And I go, Or you could go get a coffee and then like your kid maybe doesn't go to the hospital with you because there's a 50-50 on that one. I go, yeah, don't
Right.
flick the switch. But then there's other times where, it might not be that necessary. People won't even see it. And I'll go,
Yeah, but
I'm
you
doing
need
it.
It's
You
like
need it.
Rogan.
And then I just flick the switch and I go.
Yeah.
Fighting people, man. Like sometimes when I spar people, it's like we're just moving around. I got guys that are like, 20 fights. I got people that are good fighters that I spar sometimes. And I'll get whoop and I'll hit one and I'll be like, are we going? and I'm like, don't go. You know what I mean? Like you're going to work tomorrow. Or I'll go, you know what? It's been a minute.
Yeah.
And I'll
Right.
dig in and he'll know because he knows me well. He's like, oh shit, Jason's flicked the switch.
You know
We're
what they
fighting.
call that with me when I go skate? They'll be like, "Oh, he's going street league mode."
Yeah.
They say it like because there will be a time where I'm kind of putzing around,
Yeah.
I'm kind of skating around, and then there's a moment where I like lock in, and you actually physically you watch it happen.
Yeah.
Like this try changed. Like he got competitive with himself, and he's on. He's
It
going.
means everything now.
Yeah.
New gear.
Yeah, and that's a thing that like a lot of people you miss out on in life. Like to say I will die for this. It's going too far. But it's also when you do it, you make it or you
Right.
don't make it. When you walk off, you don't know me. You can't stand next to me because I made a choice. You didn't even. I didn't say it out loud, but I will fucking die before I don't
Yeah.
make this fucking trick, or I will fucking like I don't
Yeah.
like doing a set with you. I didn't want to do that. Like the first time I hooked up with China and she was like, "Do you want to have a threesome with Triple H?" No, but you're challenging me, and I will not back down. Like there's these certain things.
I
in my
love the
life
idea
where
that you were gay just because you didn't want to back down.
I wasn't gay because I didn't want to back down. I was gay because I was addicted to running, and I will sleep with anybody or anything because it's a way to run.
Yeah, totally.
So the people that were the scariest people to sleep with were often the most attractive people to sleep with to me.
Totally.
Because if I sleep with them, I won't be thinking
Yeah.
about the mistakes
way
I've
to-
made, the things that I haven't apologized for, the things that I should have done instead of the things that I did.
Yeah.
I can run. It's to me sleeping with. And I hate saying this because I don't want to say anything bad about gay. I love gay people. I love trans people. I love everybody. It's just for me. It's easier. It's not gay. It's I don't want to sleep. Like I used to love whores. Like if you were really hoary, like I love like dangerous women.
Because
that
that's
have,
someone that's you're not gonna have to worry about their feelings and take care of
Yeah,
them.
we're
I
just
think
gonna
it's also
fuck
that.
like animals,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, I don't.
Like Trent Reznor.
Which, by the way, can I call you out on something? And I know we need to stop. This is anyone that accuses him of being okay. If you're like, I'm like gay people, I'm not. In between tapings of my special, the last special I did, which was on OFTV, which was the only place I wasn't scared to talk about the trans stuff. And I had all these trans jokes, which I felt like were pretty balanced. And Jason was there in the green room. I allowed 2 people in the green room, Jason Ellis and Kevin Christie, who brilliant opens for me, makes stickers for Toy Machine.
He's great.
No big deal. Look at me. And after the first show, I did all these jokes about trans people, more like from the point of view of a woman. Like trans people are complaining that it's
I
like
still think of you when I back into a parking space.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then just the
I do too.
idea of like trans women, they're like, the hate crimes are happening to me. Men are calling me a slut online and a whore and a stupid liar. I'm like, yeah, welcome to being a woman, bitch. Like, this is how it is. Like, what do you do? You know, that kind of stuff. And so after the first show, you were backstage and you were like really like kind of upset and like, you know, and I was like, what's up? And you were like, well, there's some trans people that came and they're in the audience. So for the next show, like, can you just be like, you were worried about me hurting their feelings. you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, Jason, you can't be this good of a person. You can't be this nice. Like, you were like so protective. And I thought that was really endearing and sweet.
Well, because
But I was like,
the
shut up,
difference
this is
is that's
comedy.
what I talk about. And I know it makes a lot of like weird. It's like a political tie sometimes, where it's like you're in a bathroom, and I'm like, I'm not for pedophilia. Like, calm down. You don't know what it's like to be a man born in a woman's, like your woman's brain, of the man's body, and vice versa, where I've watched them. I've been friends with them for 20 years, and I've watched their fight and their insecurities and the hell that they go through. And I'm like, or you could just let him call her a her. Like, if that girl was born a girl and now she's a man and she had all the surgeries and took testosterone, does it really hurt you to just like be like, hey man, how's it going? Because you don't know how happy it makes them.
Totally,
and
but
I'm
most...
like, if there's a bad person, then we're different. But most of the people that I met that are trans are just trying to live. They're trying to live their truth, and I feel like sometimes those people overreact. But because I know where it comes from, it's the same as like if somebody puffs up with me now and says something like, "You want to fucking go?" I go, "Aw." You know, because I know where it came from.
Yeah.
Old me be like, you puff up on me, I'll puff back. I'm like, yeah, I'll fucking go. Give me your best shot.
I'll be as
but
dumb
if I'm
as you.
understanding, I'm like,
be as dumb
this
as
guy's
him.
insecure. This guy's gone through a lot of stuff. He puffs up because he's scared. And he's doing this to like protect the little boy inside him. I know, I've done that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's the same with like, oh, you're calling me a man, and it's like because of your insecurities and the things that you've grown up with. The most hurtful thing you can hear is like, you're just a dude, you're a chick with a dick. It's like, and the person that says it is scared of pretty girls that have penises, and you have to say you're a chick with a dick to try to make yourself feel better. I understand where everyone's coming from, but I also know that most people don't understand where anyone's coming from.
Yeah.
So it's reaction.
But I also think that the person that does that isn't just mean to trans people. I think they're
No.
mean to everyone.
Oftentimes you are correct with that,
So
yes.
thank you. Neither of us can prove that either of our statements, but it's like the kind of thing where it's like, this person isn't just a dick to you. They're a dick to everybody. Do you know what I mean? That's just who they are.
And those are the things these days when you say comments on social media, I really don't care.
Good.
Because I'm just like, I'm in love with my day. I mean, I love Rumblebean. He comes in bed hugs me with Catherine, and I have a bed, I have a house, I have a pool. It has a button that has a waterfall and a fire pit. You got to be fucking joking me.
Yeah.
You can't. If I'm gay, good.
Great.
Like,
Yeah.
you win, dude. You got me.
Yeah.
I'm too busy looking good.
I tried to be gay. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Didn't take.
Yeah, well, A for effort, you know?
Well, it was like, I don't know.
I'm a cowboy and I don't own a horse.
You're a
gotta
trans
go.
cowboy. You have to leave.
There you go.
That's easy.
You got to come out and hang with the horses.
I want to.
Yeah.
Catherine's got a friend that has a bigger horse that carries me. So I want to. My ultimate thing, my favorite thing on social media is obviously bald cats, but horses that swim. And I want to ride a horse that goes in the water because I see people that ride the horse and they swim and then they jump off the horse and then the horse gets them and takes them back to a spot where they can jump off the horse again. And I'm like, okay, that to me is the coolest thing that you can
Okay,
do.
we'll dig into that at some point. Here's the thing. So Chris is
Scared of horses.
a good father, and he has to drive 4 hours to his daughter's volleyball game.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we have to
I
kick him
respect
out.
that. This is the longest Jason Isles show in the history
This was
of
a
our
very
podcast
special
career.
episode, is what this was.
Agreed. I love you guys.
I love
think
you.
you're
Love you
both
more.
great people. I think anybody that thinks differently should maybe do some more research on themselves and these two people, because I know them personally and they have a lot of love in their hearts. And I am a good judge of character because I've been through a lot and I've worn a lot of people's shoes. And these people deserve respect and love. And if you don't know them and you're talking shit, reassess yourself because you got it wrong.
What's going on out there?
I put my heart on it. These are really great people. So I appreciate you guys coming on. And you're adorable that you love each other.
I love you. You
I
should
love
come on
this.
without me. I feel like I'm...
I'll do the other one.
Don't do that.
Okay.
I want both of you.
Or I'll
here.
come on and just talk to Tully.
If you were like, you know what, I've got a migraine, I'm not coming. I'm like, don't bring that asshole.
I
don't wanna
know.
talk to him.
Sorry. Yesterday I did have a migraine and I had to cancel.
It's
I don't.
okay.
I didn't want to be like an idiot on this show. I love your fans are so. By the way, when your fans come up to me, they are always so gracious. There's so many piercings, but they all have tetanus. But they're always so rad.
I'm just happy that there's a fan of mine that comes to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of like tie-dye Crocs. Like I don't know, there's a lot
Easy.
happening.
No, that's
They're
not true.
living their truth and they are thriving, but they're
Crocs.
always so gracious.
All right, thanks for being on the show. Like and subscribe, everybody. If you want to see the Patreon, patreon.com/AllisMate. Do not die.